Southeastern won the toss. They deferred to the second half. And from about 3 yards deep, Xavier Smith runs it out. And a nice tackle in space from Southeastern there. And Kevin Bickham. So this FAMU offense will come onto the field first. A team that is 9-2, 7-1 in the SWAC. You know, they're the first HBCU, LaDarren, to make the playoffs since 2016 when North Carolina A&T was invited. Their only loss against an FCS opponent week 1 against Jackson State. Rashawn McKay struggled on that day in the Orange Blossom Classic, but boy, he's been good since.
Yeah, he's been sensational. He's one of these players, when we talk to the coaches, he's a student of the game, and he's really gotten better every single week. And he's going to have a good game to be balanced for this offense tonight.
The running back is 6th-year senior Bishop Bonnet. And a 3-yard gain as Donnell Ward-McGee, the safety, makes the stop. It's a Florida A&M offense that averages about 29 points per game. They come off a dominant performance. They finally got off the schneid against Bethune-Cookman, their arch rivals, 46-21. They were dominant last week.
Yeah, they had a really good opportunity to really show the rest of the country that they are for real. Their offense was very balanced, and you talked about Bonnet. He had a sensational game, 128 yards and a TD last week in that game.
Tries the left side. And he's got a gain of about 7. It'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Well, this is going to be a real challenge, you know, for this Lions defense because, you know, in terms of giving up yards on the ground, they give up nearly 156 yards rushing per game, and that plays to the strength of the Rattlers offense. And you know, we talked to Coach Simmons during the week, and they want to run the ball, play the field position battle, and if they can, and set the tone because they know they got that dark cloud defense to bail them out every single time.
40% for the year on 3rd down. They've got one here. You know, Bonnet is the primary back, but they can mix it up in the backfield a little bit. That was Jalen McLeod. And here's the carry.
Here it is. They go a little bit to the Wildcat formation, and you know they've got some backs. You know, McLeod, and I'm pretty sure we may see Stanley a little bit later, but Terrell Jennings. Those are the bigger backs than Bonnet, and you know, each one of those backs gives them something else in this offense, and especially the way their quarterback has been playing of late. This offense is legit.
On 1st and 10, McKay over the middle for Smith, incomplete. Broken up by Ward-McGee, 4th-year junior out of New Orleans, 2nd team All-Southland Conference. A Southeastern defense that Frank Selfo and you talked to Raymond Monica, the defensive coordinator, they really were asking and challenging them after the loss to Nichols, gave up 45 points a week ago.
Yeah, and it's really tough to, when you give up that many points, you say, oh my gosh, how are we going to do when we get into the playoffs? But you just got to wipe that out of your memory, and they've got a game plan, and their game plan tonight is to stop the run, make this Rattlers offense be one-dimensional.
On 2nd down, pressure coming on McKay. Somehow got away, throws a dart over the middle, and that is complete. Xavier Smith hauls it in on a gain of about 16 and a 1st down.
This is outstanding quarterback play. Rashawn McKay under duress, but he's a physical-sized quarterback, and he shakes off the defender, and he's able to stand tall and throw a strike.
A 7-yard gain, so call it 3rd down and 3. McKay, 20 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions this year. Redshirt junior out of Miami. Yeah, we've got a whistle, and we'll hear from our referee, Jeff Rink, for the first time tonight.
Timeout. Florida A&M. First timeout of the half.
So an early timeout for Willie Simmons in FAMU. 3rd down and 3 up. Here's a look at the Rattlers of Florida A&M in their season in playoff history, 8th FCS appearance. They actually won the first FCS title back in 1978. It was the 1AA playoffs then, and here they are for the first time in 20 years in the postseason. Again, they did not qualify for the SWAC championship game, but enough, according to the committee, to be an at-large selection. First HBCU at-large since 2016. 3rd and 3. They run it with Bonnet, and he is close to a first down.
It's all going to depend on the spot, and I think that where he's pointing the other way and saying first down, and it's a little bit of their power running game. They stay in that 11 personnel, and watch they pull Kamari Young. He's one of the tight ends. He comes across the formation, and he makes just enough of a good block there, Jack, that Bonnet was able to get the line to make.
Bonnet, such a talented running back, tops in the SWAC in rushing, 11th nationally. About 85 yards per game. From the 34. Bonnet sweeping left. And a big hit delivered on the sideline by Sterling Fisher.
He's saying he let him know that he's here. That's all that is. Even though they picked up 3 or 4 yards on first down, this is what you want in this offense. They go back to a 12 personnel, 2 tight ends and a running back. And it's power football, and they pull that tight end. And you're right, Sterling Fisher made himself known, especially coming up from that safety position.
I think the chain gang got the worst of that on the sideline. 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7. McKay to throw. Over the middle, that's incomplete. That may have been dropped by Smith.
I think he dropped it there, Jack. And that's one of the receivers that you can almost count on for him to make that catch. One of the best receivers at Florida A&M, Xavier Smith. But I think if you're talking about quarterback play, you got to look at Rashawn McKay. The nerves are not there. He seems locked in. He seems like a gamer. And that's going to pay dividends as this game starts to play on, because these moments are going to get bigger and bigger. And this is a really interesting 3rd down here to start this game as well.
2 3rd down conversions on the drive for Florida A&M. McKay for Smith again, incomplete. Coverage from Blaine Delahousse. This is a storyline for the secondary of Southeastern. They're without All-American corner Philando Jordan for a 6th straight game, LeDarren, and not showing any signs of an effect early. FAMU's going to punt.
Yeah, and it played to the strength of the defense. When you can get that offense at a predictable down and distance, they knew the Rattlers were going to pass, and that secondary played it very well, zone coverage, and that's what you want. 3rd downs, the defense has to get off the field. And now the Lions going to get pretty decent field position here.
Jose Romo Martinez punts to the dangerous Gage Larvadane. Dodges 1 tackle. Has a little bit of space past the 30. Outstanding true freshman after a 43-yard punt with a return of 12. So now we see the matchup, LD, that we wanted from the start.
Yeah.
Southeastern's offense, FAMU's defense. Cole Kelly, you can't say enough about this guy. The numbers somehow from the spring have gotten better here in the fall. What have you seen? Why has he been able to do that?
You know, I think he's just been able just to get more immersed into the offense. Even he can continue to get better, and the timing and the rapport with his receivers are off the charts.
Throws on first down for Austin Mitchell. There's a flag. Coverage from B.J. Bowler, the redshirt junior, a transfer from Mercer. And this is going on FAMU.
Pass interference. Number 11. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Part of the difficulty with Southeastern offensively is the fact that they spread it around so much. They got 18 players with a catch, 11 with a touchdown. They've got 10 players with 200 or more receiving yards.
Yeah, and especially when they go to that 10 personnel, 4 wide receivers if you make it. And that poses problems from just about anybody. But I think this is a good matchup for this Rattlers defense. You saw in the first play right there that they're saying, okay, we're going to take our guys and play man-to-man defense. And we don't think you're as good as everybody wants to make. We have great talent too, and we're going to play you mano-a-mano here.
Larvadane there, do everything, threaten the backfield. Dingle, Spurlock, and Mitchell the receivers. On first down, Kelly underneath for his target, Nolan Given. That's become a top target of his. Coverage there from Marquise Bell. We're going to be saying his name quite a lot. There's a look at Isaiah Land along with their numbers. This dark cloud defense, the moniker that has really taken full with this team, they have been awfully impressive this year.
You know, it's been nothing short of remarkable. They have a team total 38 sacks. That puts them 7th in the FCS in terms of getting home to the quarterback. This defense in 30 categories, or in the top 30 in 15 different categories, which is incredible.
Jet sweep, Brennan Dingle to midfield. So a gain of 4. And it brings up 3rd down and 6.
And I think that's the key for this Southeastern offense, Jack. They've got to be able to figure out to run the ball. And everybody knows they're going to throw the ball, pass it. I think they run nearly 45 to maybe 40% of the time. And the rest, they're throwing it all over the yard. But they've got to be balanced, I think, tonight. This is going to be one of the toughest tests defensively that they're going to see, especially throughout this season here.
Top 3rd down offense in the country during the regular season, 54%. This is 3rd and 6. FAMU rushes 4. Kelly steps up and falls ahead about a half-yard shy of the line to gain.
You know, you absolutely forget how good a runner Cole Kelly can be. You know, we talk about how he can throw the ball than the receivers, and you know, he's leading the team in rushing yards, and he leads the school with 33 career touchdowns, 16 this season. So you forget about that. And that's why he's such a dynamic player with the size that he is at 6'7" and 260.
Southeastern going on 4th down. And did someone jump?
And it might have been Marquise Bell. He got a little quick.
Offside. Number 5. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Results in 1st down.
That's our referee, Jeff Rink. You'll be hearing us say Marquise Bell's name quite a bit. You can see him getting a little antsy off the edge. This is a guy who's an All-American corner, Buchanan Award finalist for the top defensive player in the FCS. Already accepted an invite to the East-West Shrine Bowl. He really does everything for this defense. On 1st down, Kelly the dump off. One-hand grab by Teron Jones before he's upended by B.J. Bowler.
Yeah, that's an outstanding open field tackle by Bowler. And that's an even heck of a job by Jones to make the play and hold on to the catch. And that's what makes this defense good. They run to the football. It's all about swarming. When that ball comes out, you're going to see 11 Rattlers run to the ball as best they can. Bowler the first one to get there.
Motion man is Mitchell on 2nd and 10. Kelly to throw. Underneath, caught. That's Damian Dawson, 6th-year senior out of Franklinton with his 12th catch of the year.
Well, Jack, you're seeing their tight ends get 2 early targets in the game. You talked about Given, now Dawson here. And we talked to the offensive coordinator, Greg Stevens, and he says the tight ends are very important to this offense. They want to figure out ways to get them the ball because they figure they have the matchup advantage. Well, that's going to be tested here this evening because that's going to go against Marquise Bell and that secondary, which is some very good players, especially in the country.
3rd and 4. Kelly rifles, caught Spurlock. 1st down Southeastern.
Yeah, he's really good at that throw right there. It's a little delay route to the outside, and Anthony Spurlock sets it up well. He gets a big wide split, and when receivers do that, that should be a clue to these defensive backs that, hey, I may be giving up something to the inside, and Spurlock did a great job there. And, of course, the ball was on time.
Spurlock, one of many transfers on this team. He came by way of Western Kentucky. You know, when an offense spreads the ball out the way SLU does, guys want to come here, and they're starting to flock to Hammond. Fake the handoff. It's Dingle, and he is drilled.
Yeah, guess who?
Marquise Bell. When in doubt, it's him.
Yeah, I'll tell you. If it's not 5, it may be 31. And it could be 11-2. Watch this here. This play had a chance. They outflanked the defense, kind of motioned him across the back of the formation. But Marquise Bell was not having any of that.
They motion Given off the line as a tight end. Pitch it out to Jones. Can't quite get the sideline. Knocked out of bounds by Eric Smith. Bell in there again, 2-yard gain. 3rd and 7.
Yeah, and you know, as good as this offense been, you mentioned, you know, #1 in the country on 3rd downs conversion. He's one of the top offenses for sure. You don't want to try to make a living with 3rd, 7, or 8. You know, against this defense, who's awfully good on 3rd down as well, 11th in the country on 3rd down defense.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 7. Kelly across his body, incomplete. Bowler knocked it away from Kovacs. And in a game where you're facing a defense like this, what does Frank Selfo like to do? Looks like the field goal unit's coming up.
Yeah, and I think our Walter Payton Orr probably could have ran for that 1st down there. I think if he just hangs on to the ball and just makes himself an athlete like he normally does, he picks up that 1st down. And nonetheless, that's a good defensive stop by the Rattlers to at least force a field goal attempt.
38-yard try for Mateo Rengifo, who's 7 for 10 this year. He missed last week from 45. Would have sent the Riverbell Classic to OT, and it's a fake. It's Kovacs right up the gut for 6. 28-yard fake field goal touchdown run. And the Lions are on the board first.
Hey, it's the FCS playoffs, baby. You don't leave it at home. Bring it out. They probably have been saving this the entire year, and they got the perfect look that they wanted, Jack. And, you know, sometimes your eyes light up in a game, and you're like, oh, my gosh, this is just like we practiced. And they executed that to perfection to get the first points of the game.
21 yards from Nick Kovacs, his first rushing score of the year, and Gifo's point after is away and through. Winner go home. You better. Well, Nick Kovacs had 3 receiving touchdowns in the regular season for Southeastern. He adds a rushing touchdown on the fake field goal from 21 yards. Frank Selfo goes deep into the playbook and a 7-0 lead for the Lions. Mateo Rengifo to send it away. And this is Xavier Smith from his goal line. Not a whole lot of room to run. And pulled down very quickly by Markel Linzer. 13-yard return. There's the Southeastern resume. Second in the Southland Conference. Frank Selfo's group had a chance to win their first Southland title since 2014. Came up short in the River Bell Classic against their rivals from Nichols last Thursday. Fourth FCS appearance, second in 3 seasons. He's really done a nice job of this program.
Well, you know what? We talked about them losing 2 of their last 3, but they've scored 52 in a loss against UIW and then 45 against Nichols. There's not many schools playing that can say that. It's just a matter of their defense can play with the offense and play complementary football. This team is going to be lethal.
Over the middle, Jamari A. Shareed has the catch, gain of 11. One of the top targets on this team, second leading receiver, fourth in the SWAC in receiving. Guy who transferred in from Texas State.
You know, they've got a bunch of receivers that used to be former high school running backs, so they have that knack. You know, once they catch the ball, you know, they're trying to get the yards after the catch, and a lot of that activity by these receivers going to help them.
McKay sideline, caught Shareed again. And another first down, 12 that time.
Yeah, that's a big time throw right there, Jack, and that just shows you the arm talent that McKay certainly has. That's what this offense has to do. They may have to start throwing on first down, be less predictable, get this defense off balance.
Terrell Jennings, one of the bigger backs on this team. Not much doing there on the run. Stopped by Bryce Cage, true freshman from Baton Rouge. Starting Fisher in there as well. We were talking about Ladarian, a rushing attack that's been pretty good this year. 276 rush yards, season high for FAMU last week against Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, and that's their MO. And if they can run the ball, then they can take some shots downfield off play action pass.
McKay's pass tipped away. That was dangerous. Lane Delahousse had a jump. And he cut right in front of David Manigo.
Yeah, Delahousse almost ran that route better than the receiver did, and he stepped right into that. And I think if he times it a little bit better, he might have even a better chance to pick that off. And if he catches it, Jack, that might be a pick 6 for sure, because there was nobody else back there to slow him down.
Southeastern defense that has allowed some yards, but they've also got 3 defensive touchdowns, so they're dangerous. And here's a 3rd down and 9 now. And this feels like a big moment in this game for Florida A&M. Southeastern rushes 4. McKay steps up, tries to run for it, and he'll slide near the 45. They're going to call him down about the 42. So he's maybe 5-6 yards shy, and probably no decision here for Willie Simmons. You got to punt this ball away.
Yeah, I think if Rashawn McKay makes up his mind a little bit quicker right here, and then just determines where the line is, he knew he had to get at least close across the 45-yard line to even make it close. And you're right, Jack, he's about 5 yards short of the first down, giving himself up. And this is what this offense didn't need to do. They didn't need to go a series and have to punt the ball back to this Lions offense.
Romo Martinez's first punt went 43. This one trickles inside the 10, inside the 5, and down to about the 2. 56-yard punt of a beauty, and Romo Martinez pins them inside the 5. 7-0 Southeastern early. Championships continue next weekend with complete second-round coverage on ESPN+. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Getting late in the first quarter in Hammond, 7-0 Southeastern, leading Florida A&M. Jack Benjamin and LaDarren McClain with you. Cole Kelly, the reigning Walter Payton Award winner, goes to work from his own 2. And a sideline pass is incomplete, looking for Mitchell. He was out of bounds.
Yeah, there are not many coaches that trust their quarterback to put their own heels in the end zone and throw out of it on first down. A lot of times these coaches would say, hey, let's do some litmus test runs just to give us some space. But when you've got a player like Cole Kelly, all that is thrown out the window. He's arguably, at any level, one of the best quarterbacks that you'll see. And the maturation process as he continues to play along.
It's Kelly on a run. And out across the 5 to about the 7.
Yeah, you always can have that in your back pocket too. Just, he's so big, he can fall down for, 5 or 6 yards. And you can see, even with more games in the fall 11, his numbers continue to get better and better. And I thought he was sensational in the spring, but to top what he did and be a candidate again for the Walter Payton Award is pretty amazing.
Southeastern 1 for 3 on third down so far. Kelly buying time, steps up and runs, and falls forward as he does so often, very close to the marker. And that will be enough for a first down. That's the element, LD. When you look at his numbers, 46 rush yards total in the fall. Leading rusher on this team coming in 442 yards this season.
Yeah, it's just like, wow. How's he doing this? He's just a big guy. But look at the poise in the pocket. He's got bodies all around him. He doesn't panic. And this is a defensive nightmare because once he gets to that next level, the smaller defensive backs have got to make a business decision and come hit that big tree trunk guy coming through. And sometimes they don't want to do that.
On first down, Kelly looking deep for Mitchell. Incomplete, but a flag. Couple times they've gone at B.J. Bowler, and that's pass interference. He never got turned around.
No, he didn't. He was in perfect position, but you got to get that head around to at least make the official think that you're trying to make a play at the ball also. But that's a classic case of pass interference, and I like the decision here. You're going to get man coverage. Let's just take a shot, see if these guys can cover. How about that, Jack? They had the ball inside their own 5-yard line, and in a couple of plays, this guy breaking down on third down, breaking the defense down, and now they're cooking with gas at around about the 30-yard line.
3 penalties for 34 already for Florida A&M. They'll swing it out. Gage Larvadain, dynamic true freshman, steps out of bounds around the 35. This guy's an elite athlete. And when I say elite athlete, I'm talking in terms of he's the #2 receiver on this team. And when football season ends, Southeastern hopes in Frisco, Texas, he's going to go and play basketball.
And he's a guy that can dunk the basketball at 5'10", 160. And he's just one of these guys, and when you talk to Coach Selfo and you talk to some of these coordinators, Greg Stevens, they just light up because the potential is limitless when you've got that guy in the backfield.
Cephas Johnson, who works as both a quarterback and a running back. He can also catch for this team. They use him in a lot of ways. And he's got a nice gain there and a first down for Southeastern.
Yeah, I just like the way they use their personnel. Coaches that are in tune with their players' ability, and it just gives the defense something else to think about. They may not have shown that too much on film this year, but it's something that they have in the arsenal. And make no mistake about it, there could be a wrinkle off that where either Johnson keeps it and throws it or play action pass with Kelly.
Inside 2 minutes, first quarter, swing it to Larvadain again. He has all kinds of speed. That could have been a lot worse if not for a nice open field tackle from Javon Morgan, one of the Rovers.
Yeah, he's just a good-looking player. And this play here, Jack, is an extension of the running game. It may go down as a completion, But make no mistake about it, this is how they run the ball, because they want to stretch this defense out. They want to see if the Rattlers can run. Are they really fast as that they claim to be? Right now, this offense moving well.
Kelly on 2nd and 3 to throw. Looking for Dingle. Has him along the sideline. Another first down for Southeastern. They lead the nation in third downs. That one goes for 16. And Kelly has already connected with 6 different receivers in the first quarter.
Well, this is a fantastic job by the offensive line. They protect the blitz well. The Rattlers tried to bring some extra guys. They couldn't get there.
Teron Jones with a crease. It's amazing. You go pass, 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 and then a seam opens up for 9 on the ground.
And it's been a problem from everybody that they play. They score 48 points a game, so win, lose, or draw, they're going to put points on the board. It's just a matter, can you keep up offensively on the other side?
Dingle stretches. He's got a first down. You know, Southeastern likes to go fast. This is turbo speed right now.
Yeah, you better be in shape. You know, we haven't talked enough about this offensive line. It's an offensive line. They've got 5 guys that played the spring last year, and they rotate about 7 guys. But these front 5, these starting 5 guys are technically sound, and there's no pressure whatsoever now to get back to the quarterback. And Isaiah Land has been relatively quiet so far in this first half.
Final 5 seconds of the first quarter. Jones picks his way for about 7. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter in Hammond. A first quarter controlled by the home team. The Lions up 7 on the move. We go to the second. Start of the second quarter in Hammond, a 10-play, 81-yard drive for Southeastern on the back of this offensive line. How about 4 of their 5 starters being named all-conference? And the one guy, LD, who wasn't, Ethan McMullen, was honorable mention. He was a second-team selection in the spring.
Yeah, it's what makes them go. And we talked enough about Cole Kelly and the receivers, but you can't have the prowess of the offense if the offensive line is not dominant. This is a dominant group, and when they make their minds up to take control of the game, which they're doing right now, no pressure at all on Cole Kelly. He's able to stand back there, and they're chipping away with some running game also.
Southeastern out of the Southlands. FAMU out of the SWAC. Inside give to Ron Jones. Puts his shoulder down, gets inside the 10.
That's a nice run. That's a real patient, nice run. And this is all about patience. Let the block set up. It's an inside zone. And sometimes you can have a little bit of a cutback off that right guard's butt if you see him leave. That's good patience. That's a mature run. And if they can continue to do that, there are going to be problems for this Rattlers defense.
Average is about 4.5 per carry. Frank Selfo put it best for us. He said, he's not great at anything, but he's good at everything.
Yeah.
First down and goal, Southeastern trying to stretch a 7-0 lead early in the second. It's Jones. That's a good tackle in space by Marquise Bell.
Yeah, and Jack, right now, they're the more physical team. And you saw Damian Dawson, he's one of the tight ends. He is bringing the heat. I mean, these guys are seeking and destroying Rattler defenders, and it's a power running game. And dare I say that with Southeastern football, because we know they like to throw the ball, but now they're pounding this defense and knocking on the door.
Southeastern was the 8th best red zone offense in the country during the regular season. Second and goal. Kelly, wide open, Nolan Given. His 6th touchdown of the season. This one from 6 yards out, and a masterful drive for the Lions.
Oh, that's a big-time drive, considering where they started. And then Nolan Given. Boy, this is a beautiful play design. I don't even think the Rattlers knew what was going on. They had guys going in different directions. You can't see it from this shot. They do a little bit of a rub at the bottom, and that freed, obviously, Nolan Given. Well executed there by the Lions.
You can see there, went 98 yards, started from their 2. Rengifo's point after, up and through. Southeastern up 14-0 early in the second, trying to run away with this in the first half. Southeastern fans having a grand old time hosting the FCS postseason for the 2nd time in 3 years. We're in the strawberry capital of America. That's Hammond, Louisiana. Can see the enrollment there. A couple of famous alums. Bill Evans, Robin Roberts. I'll give you one more too, LD. How about Wade Miley, no-hitter for the Reds a couple years ago. He's now on the Cubs.
Little baseball knowledge coming in.
Yeah, there you go. They had to go through a lot with Hurricane Ida here, and a team, we were talking to Frank Selfo about it. 12 days they relocated. They were in Alabama. Tighten them up as a group a little bit. You know, they started on the road. They played 5 road games to start. Didn't have a home game until the middle of October. Pretty remarkable when you think about where they are now.
Well, he talked about adversity. He said these kids have experienced real life adversity. Playing a football game is nothing to these guys, and so them being down in a game or them having a bad game is nothing. And it just shows you the makeup of his kids and this program, the resiliency to play this game. And right now they've got a 14-0 lead.
A 13-play, 98-yard touchdown drive. See if Florida A&M can get something going here. A nice return out across the 25. That's Darian Oxendine. And we were talking about it from FAMU's perspective here. Their first postseason appearance in the FCS since 2001. And they got to get something going here. Feels like it has to happen now.
Well, they got to get it going because you don't want your defense to get back on the field. Their defense has played a lot of defense in this game and been chasing these receivers and trying to slow down Cole Kelly. So the offense, if anything, needs to have possession of this football, make some first downs, slow the tempo of this game down. They've got to make this an ugly backyard dog kind of fight, ugly game to get back in it.
McKay on first down finds Smith. And by the ankles, pulled down by Delahousse, right near the line to gain. They're going to weigh that forward for a first down, gain of 10.
Yeah, this is a nice throw. The timing is really good. The coverage is pretty good too. And when you have a perfect pass, very difficult for even great coverage to get there. And that's one guy they got to get going. Xavier Smith, he's one of the top receivers, especially at Florida A&M for sure. Got to get him going.
They actually called that about a half-yard shy. So it is second down and short. Let's see the numbers on Xavier Smith, All-American receiver coming in.
Well, second and short like this is where you try to get a home run. You're playing with a free down, so to speak, here.
Instead, they give it to Bonnet. He can be like a home run threat. You think about how good he's been for this team. Started today 66 yards shy of 1,000 for the season. His 6th year now of college football, a guy who's a former walk-on.
Well, he's become the heart and soul of his team. And, you know, he's one of these guys that's probably the best protection of all the running backs. And he works out with the offensive linemen. He does those drills. He does the pass protection. So they live and breathe with number 1 in the backfield, and he's one of these guys that's got to start to feel it and start to put the team on his back, so to speak.
2 punts to start for Florida A&M, trying to get something going now, down 14-0 on the road. McKay steps up, a little bit of a wobbler, and it's incomplete, looking for Smith. Couple times the ball has wobbled on him, but maybe one that Smith can have.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not going to be pretty. When you're behind in a game, the tendency is to press. Every little play is precious. You got to make that catch. He's too good of a player to miss a ball like that. And you got to understand your quarterback is under duress. He's just trying to hang in there as long as he can. Got to help your QB out.
2-time All-American receiver, over 2,500 yards for his career. 2nd and 10. McKay was hit. Ball comes out. Manigo tries to dive for it. It's scooped up by Delahousse. No whistles. And down the sideline, takes it inside the 10. Now they're going to have a look at this.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I thought his hand was coming forward. You see Coach Simmons talking to his quarterback. Watch 32, Mike Mason. He comes in, and you saw the pressure from the backside, too. Could see whatever it is. Here's a better shot. It might be John Graves. Yeah, John Graves the third. He and Mike Mason meet at the quarterback.
They did call that incomplete, by the way. So they're going to run over and take a look at this.
You know, I thought his hand was clearly coming forward. He could step into the pass. And anytime that hand does come forward, if it's loose, it's typically an incomplete pass.
Last thing Willie Simmons' group needs right now is a turnover deep in their own territory. Already behind the 8-ball early in the second quarter. Yeah, I think you're right with the arm moving forward. So here we go. You know, his own, I think Bonnet actually ran into him. He was kind of blocked into him.
Yeah, watch the play. There's Mike Mason and Bonnet going at each other. Mike Mason just bulldozed his ways to the quarterback, and I think it does come forward, but it's a big time call because, man, I agree with you, Jack. You don't want to give up any more big plays to these Lions.
They were talking about Frank Selfo's defense struggling a week ago. They've been opportunistic with turnovers.
Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. Third down at the 38-yard line.
So there's the confirmed call. Look, Delahousse did the right thing, scooping that ball up and running. You played on the whistle, but a break there and an incomplete pass. Now, not to be lost here, it's now third down and long. A situation that we talked with Willie Simmons, we talked with the co-offensive coordinators, KJ Black, Ryan Stanchuk. They had to be in third and short today. That hasn't been the case.
No, they haven't, and you almost have to think here, if you can get some of the yardage back and make it a fourth and maybe 1 or 2, you almost got to think I got to go for it because I don't want to give this ball back anywhere on the field to Cole Kelly in this offense. You've got to think, hey, we've got to figure out a way to hold on to the ball and score.
They're 2 for 4 on third down. McKay has missed 3 of his last 4 throws. 4-man rush. Time to throw. Lofts it, picked off. Jack Henderson's got it. He breaks loose of a tackle, falls forward near the 40. And this Southeastern defense, which picked off 16 passes in the regular season, 6th most in the FCS, has another, and they are in business up 14.
Yeah, and I just think Rashawn McKay didn't even see him. I think he's looking at something. Sometimes you're chasing ghosts a little bit. When you expect the defense to do one thing and they don't do it, that's a great play. Good recognition by Jack Henderson to stay in his lane and zone coverage and make the pick.
We were talking about McKay, LD, and how much better he's been. That was his first interception in 110 pass attempts, but not a good one.
Yeah, it's not a good one, but.
And a short field for Cole Kelly. Immediately back to work, pressure coming, and down he goes. So FAMU gets home.
Yeah, that's a nice rush there by General Hunt, number 92. He's the first guy to get home. And you saw flashes of Isaiah Land. He's matched up on the outside against Miles Character. He made the quarterback step up. Watch the quarterback step up here, and then here comes Gentle Hunt and company. And even you got Big Stanley Mentor too, Jack. He's there to clean things up as well.
I was going to say, don't leave out the 6'2", 320-pound redshirt junior.
Can't leave the bowling ball out of there for sure. You can't leave him out.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Kelly steps up. He'll tuck it down. And Marquise Bell with another tackle. He's racking him up early. That's already his 6th.
Yeah, that's what they've got to do. They've got to make clean tackles, and arguably the best player at the FCS level makes that open field tackle. That's what you're supposed to do as an All-American and as a Buck Buchanan Award watch list player too.
So now it's 3rd and 9. And as much as Florida A&M has struggled offensively, he can get a stop here, maybe build some momentum. Kelly with time again, has an open man. That's Terrell Carter. They just spread you out and keep on coming. Carter, a big catch and run, 30 yards, another first down for SLU.
These routes take a long time to develop downfield, and the offensive line doing a fantastic job again to allow Cole Kelly to scan the defense and for Terrell Carter to drag all the way across the defense into that open flood zone out there. And this offense doing play after play, putting this defense in pressure situations.
Damian Dawson with the catch. quickly drilled out of bounds by Javon Morgan. 7 straight completions now for Cole Kelly. We talked about it. Tops in the FCS, right around 74% for the year.
Jalen Bell has to come off, and I think his helmet did come off, and he and Isaiah Land were kind of doing some talking to one another. He's going to have to come off for one play.
They're all conference left tackle. Larvadan in the backfield, and they'll motion him out on 2nd and goal. Southeastern trying to stretch a 14-0 lead. Kelly over the middle, dropped. That hit Mitchell in the numbers, and he couldn't hold on. Their all-time leading receiver would have been a walk-in 6, instead 3rd and goal.
That's about as perfect a pass as you can put on the money. Maybe he's 6'7", so he has that perfect sight line, and he's always throwing down to his receiver. That hit him right square in the 4.
Might have been too good.
Yeah, exactly. It might have been too good.
3rd and goal. Can this FAMU defense force 3? Kelly buying time. Little shovel pass. Teron Jones. 20 straight for Southeastern to start here in round 1 of the FCS championship.
You know, they're just making play after play. They're beating this Rattlers defense. They're one step ahead. And the wherewithal by Cole Kelly to just flick it right there at the end to Jones. This offense can do what they want right now, Jack. They feel it. And right now they've got this defense, one of the top-rated defenses in the country. They've got them guessing and about to go down 21-0 here.
9-yard touchdown grab. Extra point up and through. Southeastern rolling at home, 21-0. Already in UIW, a close one against SFA. They advance to take on the reigning champs from Sam Houston, UT Martin. How about a 1-point win over Missouri State? These have all been really close. The one blowout on that side, South Dakota State taking care of business to set up the matchup with Sacramento State next weekend. A couple in progress. Southern Illinois looking good against South Dakota as well. You know, you expect close games throughout. It's interesting, LD, to see different conferences match up. Yeah. You never know. Playing well this time of year is so important, too. Some of these teams coming in sliding, but look, playoff time's a different beast.
I 100% agree with you. You got to almost wipe out what you did in the regular season, and it takes on a different animal. And right now, if you're Southeastern, again, you know, they kind of limped into this thing, and they had to wait to be selected. And, man, they are red hot here this evening.
Here's a look at the Florida A&M drive so far. A couple of punts. The pick on the last series McKay has begun just 4 for 11. That interception, his first in 110 passes. So the question is, how does this offense get going?
Well, I think they've just got to take a collective breath and say, okay, 21 points, let's not worry about it. Let's get back to what we do best. Let's try to establish the run. Receivers, hold on to the ball, because there's been some good throws by the quarterback, and these guys have just flat out dropped the pass. So get back to what you do best. Don't try to keep up with Southeastern on offense. Take it literally one play at a time here to get back.
They begin from their 15. A little bit of a seam from McLeod before he's drilled. Sterling Fisher, another tackle.
Yeah, that might be the little bit of a switch. You get a bigger back into the game, and sometimes with running backs, they see blocking a little bit different. So you may get a bigger back that could be very difficult to tackle for defense, but at the same time, he may see things that the defense is doing that the previous running back may have not seen.
Again, Florida A&M first FCS championship appearance since 2001. Got an at-large out of the SWAC. It's McLeod again, another short gain. First SWAC team to make the FCS postseason since 1997 when Jackson State made it. And here's the duo of running backs we were talking about. Bonnet and his speed, Jennings and the power, but so far they've been kept at bay.
Yeah, they have, and it's been some really long situations where they've gotten in third down, so that pretty much eliminates the running game, and you feel like you're having to pass, and that's what Southeastern does to most teams. They make you get out of your game plan because you feel like you got to keep up. You feel like you got to throw the ball. Well, that is not what this team has to do. They got to get back to the basics, keep the ball on the ground.
Little shovel to Smith. He's pulled down shy of the line to gain. Stop made by Zai Alexander, and a flag as well.
On the carry, there's a flag on the play.
Personal foul. Blocking below the waist. 59. Offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's on Jalen Spady, who's going to get a talking to on the sideline, not just from the coaching staff, but because his dad, James, is in his 4th season as an associate head coach.
Yeah, you know, coach's kid's going to get it the worst more times than not, and that was not a good series. They needed to do something. They just needed to figure out a way to move the chains. Then again, they're having to punt the ball right back to this Lions offense, and I don't even think this defense has yet recovered for the Rattlers just yet.
Romo Martinez sends it away to Gage Larvadane from around the 30.
It's good coverage.
Yep.
Number 82, Gage Larvadane on the return.
Pulled down by Kwame Clark.
The ball is spotted at the 35.
So Southeastern will go back to work with a 21-0 lead about midway through this second quarter. We were talking about Cole Kelly, the reigning Walter Payton Award winner, trying to win it for a second time. Only 2 guys have done that. Jeremiah Briscoe with Sam Houston, Armonte Edwards with Appalachian State, trying to join an exclusive group. His numbers speak for themselves. He's got a great case.
Yeah, he does. You know, again, it's turned into a kind of a quarterback award, and quarterbacks get all the glory, and certainly deservedly so by Cole Kelly this season.
Number 22,
Another good first down run for Teron Jones. 75% completion rate so far tonight, right about where he is for the season.
Somebody on this Rattlers defense has got to come up and make a play.
Low throw knocked away from Dingle. There's a flag. Antoine Collier, the safety, was out there in coverage.
Yeah, they're going to probably get maybe a targeting look here. But I don't think it was as egregious as maybe his head linesman saw it from his point of view.
Personal foul. Targeting. Number 3, defense. That play is under review.
Now, Collier's a grad transfer from UCF. He spent 4 years there. He's out of Miami. Let's take a look.
No,
Didn't see much.
that's not targeting. I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot less too, but that clearly.
Well, we're talking about launch, upward thrust,
Yeah, and I can see it's a bang-bang play, so give these officials some credit. They're seeing flashes. Again, we're up here looking down, so we can kind of see it kind of develop. These guys are field level, so that is a blur going across his face. And so to protect the player, rightfully so, throw that flag. But when they settle and look at this, I don't even think that's even close to being a targeting call.
Is no foul for targeting. Third down.
That's a good job there by the officials, Jack, to stop the game, take a look at it.
And our favorite part about it, it was quick.
Yeah, it was quick. Exactly. Hey, you're exactly right. And you look at Coach Simmons. He's over there kind of talking, saying, hey, come on. Come on, guys.
Been a frustrating night so far for the Rattlers of Florida A&M.
Yeah, and it's frustrating in the sense their defense typically can bail them out. But, again, this is a different beast that the defense is facing in the Lions offense and Cole Kelly.
They're 4 for 6 on third down. You can add another conversion to that. Jesse Britt with some extra points for a hurdle.
Well, we talked to Greg Stevens, the offensive coordinator, and they say two ways they attack, and Coach Selfo also echoed this too. It's schematically an advantage that they try to take advantage on the defense, and it's personnel and matchups. Here it is. Jesse Britt comes into the game. Swing him out of the backfield. They've outflanked the defense, and they're cooking with gas again, moving the chains one more time.
Gain of 14 for the freshman out of Shreveport. The 8th different receiver for the Lions tonight. Off play action, some pressure coming on Kelly. Lofts it for Dingle and nearly intercepted. And that's the kind of play this defense has to make at some point. B.J. Bowler out there in coverage. He was the Defensive Player of the Week in the SWAC and the Florida Classic MVP a week ago. What a game he had. He had a fumble recovery for a touchdown and a pick.
Well, if this pass had anything on it, it's a touchdown. Dingle had the step, and Bowler was in chase mode, and if that pass had a little bit something else on it, Bowler might have been looking at the back of the jersey. Dingle going in the end zone.
And Darius Fagan got the pressure on Kelly. They empty it out on 2nd and 10. FAMU rushes 3, and that's incomplete. Looking for Dingle.
Well, that's a good sign, Jack, for the defense. They're kind of making the pocket get a little bit uncomfortable right now for Cole Kelly, and that's good because he's got receivers running wide open. If from our advantage, he had Spurlock running down this Lions sideline. He was wide open. I think the only thing covering it was this back judge in the back of the end zone. But that's a good sign. They're based off that front 7. They have to get pressure because they play so much man defense. These guys have got to cause havoc and get the quarterback off his spot.
3rd down and 10. They dump it. This is Jones along the sideline. Room to run for another first down.
Well, a player, you're one step ahead of the defense. The offensive coordinator is one step ahead of the defense. They come with an all-out blitz. What's the perfect play? A screen pass to the flat with your running back with blockers, and the defense can never be right. It's a beautiful call. They're just one step ahead of the defense. And I don't know what the Rattlers can do right now. They've got to come up big time here in the red zone.
Jesse Britt right up the gut, another hurdle. At least an attempt. I think he got a good bit of B.J. Bowler. I don't know what the Olympic rules are on that.
You got to clear it.
Kind of hit him to the side of it.
You got to hit the side. I don't know if you get DQ for that. Look at this here. He gets up, and no, man, he almost went over the top of the head.
It was close. Man. That's a big guy doing it too. 5'10", 205. Transferred in from Duquesne. Spent his first 3 years at UMass. We got an injured player down.
Just never wanted to do the hurdle thing. I played in a lot of football games, and hurdling just never crossed my mind. These guys do it relatively easy.
So we'll get you the injured Rattler as soon as we can. We hope he's all right. Taking a look at this side of the bracket, we talked about the winner here going to Harrisonburg to take on James Madison. The Dukes looked locked and loaded under Kurt Signetti, and the number 3 seed, Montana Eastern Washington. There's some good second-round matchups developing already. That's going to be a fun one. Eric Barrier up against that Montana defense. Anything else catch your eye from today?
Well, you look at this bracket here. You can just start here. James Madison, obviously North Dakota State, the top in this bracket here. All those teams, you don't want to go play those guys at their place. That's the other thing too, and that's the beauty of the FCS playoffs is you go to all these different environments, and it's tough, man. I'm telling you, to survive and advance in the playoffs for sure.
Stanley Mentor, the injured Rattler, so good to see him walking off. And of course, as always, at least it seems like always, the playoffs are going to have to run through Fargo, North Dakota,
Yeah.
bottom part of that draw, and North Dakota State, the Bison looming. Well, there's Willie Simmons. His defense trying to find an answer. And a 2nd and 2 upcoming here for Southeastern. There's a look at those top 4 seeds and what they've done.
Yeah, there's some good football teams there. And obviously Sam Houston reigning, national champions. Everybody looking at them, trying to knock them off this season.
Britt. Not a lot of room to run. Savion Williams in on that stop, the transfer from Tennessee.
On the carry.
And this will bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, and this is where somebody has got to make a play. Somebody has got to do something to maybe shake up the mode of this game. Right now, this offense is rolling. You got to get them off schedule, get them off track. It's going to be tough here with 3rd and 2. They could run anything in their playbook right now, Jack. That's the bad thing about it. So somebody has got to do something big, and they've got to get Cole Kelly off his mark.
6 for 8 today on 3rd down. Kelly throws, Nolan Given drilled.
There it is.
That's Antoine Collier, and he's down in some pain.
Yeah, he paid the price. He delivered the blow, but he pays the price, and they outflank the defense again, and Given is wide open. All you got to do is turn up, and that's the play that they had to have, and it may come at a cost. And Antoine Collier there, a lot of times that delayed reaction, Jack, that's a stinger. And, man, that is probably one of the worst feelings in the world.
He's a guy who's meant so much to this defense. I mentioned a grad transfer from UCF. Good to see him up. Spent 4 years there. Joined the team in August after transferring over. And we were asking the defensive coordinators about him, Brandon Sharp and Ryan Smith, and just were raving about what he's meant to this team.
Yeah, they need to hope that he's okay. Maybe he can get back. They've got some depth in that secondary. Testing out the strength there.
Well, Southeastern's going for it. And in a sense, if they can convert here and put this thing in the end zone with the ball to start the 3rd, this thing's close to over.
Yeah.
On the flip side, this could be a momentum-changing play for this defense. 4th down and 1. Southeastern's already converted once. It's Kelly diving ahead. And that 6'7", 260-pound frame has a 1st down, but there's a flag.
It's almost unfair. Here they come with the speed option. I mean, I wouldn't want to tackle him. And he just kind of falls for 3 or 4 yards. But it looks like it may be a penalty, Jack, and this may come back.
Well, it was a holding call against Southeastern, so there's the stop that FAMU needed, at least to try to hold them to 3. And Mateo Rengifo, who we thought was attempting earlier from 38, turned into a Nick Kovacs fake field goal touchdown run. We'll now try here from 37. Snap and hold good. Kick away, and that is no good. Missed it to the right. He's missed his last couple. FAMU holds. Can the Rattlers get going offensively after this? What a player has been for this team this season. The defense for FAMU holds Southeastern to a field goal attempt that they miss. And so this offense, with 5:13 to go, they got to get something going here before the half.
The defense did their part. They've got a little bit of life here. Be nice to get something before this half, certainly close out.
McKay, who's just 5 for 12 today, looking deep and incomplete. Going for Jermaine Hawkins, true freshman out of Miami. A guy who they really like, has come on late, but missed him there.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit of a pressure that makes the quarterback get a little bit off his mark. And see, he didn't really step into that throw, Jack. His foot went left when he's trying to throw straight down the middle of the field. You know, unless you're Aaron Rodgers or maybe somebody like Patrick Mahomes, you can make that kind of throw downfield, but he's got to be technically sound, and those opportunities don't come often. You got to take advantage of it.
They give it to Bonnet. Has not had much room to run today. That's one of his better ones. Across the 25. Gain of about 7 yards.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with really the rush defense of the Lions, although, you know, Bonnet gets a nice gain there. They've really made this tough here this evening.
They go quick on 3rd and 2. Another terrific tackle. Sterling Fisher has been all over the place today.
Yeah, he's having a nice game. I mean, he is really these guys you can move across the formation, and he sees it coming before the play even develops. That takes a lot of film study. It's practice during the week, and it's coming in these games prepared, and he's out there executing to perfection.
That was his 6th tackle to lead Southeastern. Let's see about the flag. Now that's a penalty you can't afford if you're Willie Simmons' team. That's Kamari Young, the redshirt sophomore tight end.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Just when you had something go your way. Yeah, your defense finally gets a stop. They keep points off the board. Your offense, not great field position, but it's manageable. You've got 5+ minutes to do something with it. And here you are punting the ball back again.
Ball back to the 13-yard line. 4th down.
You know, this play here, you got Kamari Young. There it is.
Headbutt.
You can almost call that play every single down. Those kids out there doing something.
Jose Romo Martinez sends it away. And that will trickle past midfield and get down inside the 40. He's had a couple of nice punts to switch the field. Otherwise, this could be even worse. 48-yard punt. Well, we talked about Florida A&M and what had to happen to win this game. It doesn't help when penalties start to rack up on you. 5 for 59 yards. That's more penalties than they've got passing yards so far.
Yeah, they're about 8.5 penalties per game. That's one of the more penalized team in the SWAC conference. And when you get into playoffs, you almost have to play a clean game, Jack. Right now, they're giving it back the other way to the Lions.
Cole Kelly in the Southeastern offense, 3 touchdowns and the missed field goal so far. To throw on 1st down. Wide open, Nolan Given. Room to run inside the 40 and rumbles down to the 38-yard line with a gain of 23.
That is a really nice play. I like what Greg Stephen is doing. Roll the quarterback the other way. Drag your tight end against the grain in the open field. And there's nobody home there, Jack. They're just doing whatever they want offensively. They get the looks that they want. And they're running off with this offense and really putting a lot of pressure on this defense.
Pressure on Kelly again. Throws it back to Dawson.
Oh, what a play.
Marquise Bell.
What a play.
Well, he's up for every major honor on the defensive side of the ball that there is, and you can see why.
Yes, add this to the highlight reel. Now, this replay doesn't do it justice because there was nobody out there but Dawson and 2 blockers, and Marquise Bell comes flying out of nowhere, splits those 2 blockers, and makes that tackle.
He and Isaiah Land both on the Buchanan finalists list. 2nd and 10. Kelly off play action, and that is picked off.
There you go.
Antoine Collier. That's what you were saying, partner. Needed to make a play, and Collier has his first pick as a Rattler.
Hey, let's not kid ourselves. This defense later in this second quarter has played pretty solid. They've done some good things. Now they're starting to get pressure, and finally they get a takeaway, Jack. And this is great anticipation. I think these two safeties are really, really good, obviously. And Collier comes up and times it beautifully.
It was Cole Kelly's 7th interception of the season. To put it in perspective, he's thrown the ball more than 480 times.
Man, I can't even, my arm would fall off after 480 passes in a year.
Late in the first half, McKay to throw on first down. Sideline, caught. Wow. What a grab.
Wow.
Xavier Smith, All-American wide receiver, hauls it in, gain of 15, and can that get the FAMU offense going?
Wow, a lot going on in that play. What a fantastic catch, but an even more impressive throw by Rashawn McKay. He gets drilled, had enough on it to get it out there to Xavier Smith.
Only his 6th completion, but he needed that one bad. Throwing again on first down. Looking deep for Smith. Knocked away by Henderson, who had a pick earlier.
That's about as good as you can cover. I mean, that is fantastic. You know, he's the safety help. He's got to come over and help the defensive back. Look at this. You've got a defensive back in trail technique. That's Ward McGee. And here comes Jack Henderson to slap it away right at the end.
For all the talk about Southeastern's offense versus the Florida A&M defense, the Southeastern defense has been the story.
Oh, wow. They have stole the show. I mean, they have looked like the dominant, highly nationally ranked defense here this evening.
On 2nd and 10, pressure. Well, Mike Mason got right in the face of McKay. He had to just toss that away, looking for Shareed. Not a whole lot you can do when you can't even blink.
Here's Raymond Monica again, dialing up a blitz. It's a little bit of a loop around by Mike Mason, number 32. He's one of the linebackers, and they just don't block him. And he gets home and makes that pass come off the mark.
For the season, they were just 40% on third down, about middle of the pack in the country. Tonight have struggled, 2 for 6, and the majority have been 3rd and longs like this.
And this is a situation that quarterback draw would be there. That middle of the field is going to open up.
Inside 3 to go, first half. McKay rolls, looks, sideline pass for Smith, incomplete. It wasn't really a window to put that ball. Terrific coverage again from Southeastern.
Yeah, they tried to heat him up. And Raymond Monica, defensive coordinators, started to bring the house on this play. It's actually blocked pretty well. But I think the quarterback got a little bit of a happy feet, and he locked in on a target. If he comes back towards the middle of the field, he may have a chance. But that play there, that was almost a hope and a prayer.
So Romo Martinez will punt it away again. His 5th punt, averaging 48 so far. And this is another good one. Rolls inside the 10 again. He's placed 2 inside the 10, 1 at the 2. He's been the MVP of the first half for FAMU.
And that's why he's one of the top punters in the nation. You know, give your defense a chance.
50-yard punt, no return. And Southeastern, who don't need much time, have 2:27 to get on the board again.
Yeah, they're always in their 2-minute offense. It doesn't matter where they are on the field. Doesn't matter what defensive look that they're getting. They're always going to have the gas pedal down.
17 completions to 8 different receivers for the reigning Walter Payton Award winner, Cole Kelly. Brennan Dingle. That ball almost got stripped. He kept it close and gets forward for about 16.
Yeah, it's the gift and the curse. When these defensive backs start trying to strip the ball, you better make sure you get it, because if you don't, these running backs and these receivers are going to keep running. And it's the yards after catch there. It gets another first down.
Again, round 1 of the NCAA FCS Championship. Kelly complete. Nolan given. Now they're going to wave it and say incomplete. So that ball did hit the turf.
And that's one of the rare times you see Cole Kelly not be as accurate as we know he is. That's a wide open receiver, easy target, clean pocket too. And he just kind of throws it just a little bit too low. For those tight ends, you got to throw them right between the 2 8s. You don't want those guys working too hard to catch.
Southeastern out of the Southland Conference. Florida A&M out of the SWAC. The crosser is Dingle, blown up by Bell. And he's got about 5 yards. Third down upcoming.
Yeah, and Marquise Bell is a little bit frustrated with himself because he tried to blow the receiver up instead of making the sure tackle, what he's known to doing. You know, with that hit, he gives up an extra 2 to 3 yards after that catch.
Southeastern 6 for 9 on third down. Kelly with time, wide open man, Nolan Given. Inside Rattler territory again. Given's got his 4th catch. And that one a gain of 31.
And I think this is a bust by Marquise Bell. He's responsible for the tight end. That's a long way for the safety, Morgan, to come across the middle of the field to that deep flat to the outside on that flag route there. Good throw, good catch.
Inside 90 seconds, first half. Kelly to throw on first down, land pressure off the edge, got it away to Kovacs, who lunges ahead, and he's near another first down.
Yeah, it's just no let up in this offense. They don't even let you collect your breath. You feel like you're chasing, and next thing you know, you got them figured out. Then they do something else off of that. This offense, again, as advertised, they are awfully good. Everybody on the same page. And the guy pulling the trigger has been sensational.
Kovacs, the 9th different receiver. That ball was tipped at the line. Was Given able to haul it in? They say he did. That's a good job to keep it above the turf, LD.
Hey, these guys got some talent. They've got good ball skills, and it doesn't matter what happens. If it gets tipped, if it gets deflated, whatever, these guys are making plays.
On second and short, Kelly pulling a couple of guys with him forward. Well, he doesn't make it easy to pull him down, does he?
Timeout. Southeastern Louisiana.
I mean, it's not like he's carrying little bitty 180-pound defensive back. These are 280, 290 pounds defensive linemen that he's carrying.
He had Cameron Smith on his back, 6'5", 240. They'll stop the clock here with 53 seconds. You can see the numbers on Kelly tonight. That interception, just his 7th of the season. You know, the recruitment process to Southeastern was fascinating. There was a connection between NFL great Jake Delhomme and Frank Selfo. 2 of them go way back. Of course, Selfo coached in the NFL about 5 years. Delhomme, a great quarterback for 15 years, led the Panthers to a Super Bowl. Both of them, Delhomme and Kelly, went to Lafayette Christian Academy, so the 2 knew each other, spent 3 years at Arkansas, decided he wanted a new home, and, well, the connection made it easy, and it has been a terrific fit.
It's been a perfect fit. It's a perfect university for him to come in, and it's the perfect offense when you talk about an X's and O's perspective. He fits perfectly at what these guys are trying to do.
Design run on third and short. That's close. And he might be short.
Yeah, especially the way they're marking it over here. He's going to be about the football length short.
So about a half minute to go here. Southeastern still with 2 timeouts. They'll go for it, and well, when you have 6'7", 260 under center, you're going every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like having a big fullback play quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how you stop that. You know what's coming, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Needed about half a yard, got 3. Clock's still running here, so Frank Selfo not using the timeouts yet. Kelly to throw, Given. Shakes one man and pulled down by Marquise Bell. That's his 8th tackle. And there's the second Southeastern timeout.
Yeah, and that might have been a situation they might might have felt personnel-wise they like the defense. They like the matchups against the defense that they had, so they tried to hurry up and maybe call a points. We get the ball back in the second half to start the game, so we're in good shape.
To attempt a 21-yard field goal.
So Mateo Rengifo, who has missed his last couple, this is a chip shot from 22. 7 for 11 on the year. Snap a little bit high. Good hold from Kovacs. And the kick is good. That'll take us to halftime in Hammond. Dominance from the Lions, 24-0. And Willie Simmons' group has some soul searching to do here in the locker room.
Yeah, they do. They got to figure out what they need to do on offense. They've got to maybe try to just wipe that first half out and get back to the drawing board, if you will. But defensively, they got to tackle them.
line. They couldn't convert third down. Southeastern had the ball too much.
Yeah, and you look at that, and you look on the other side for the Rattlers, you don't see the drop passes, you don't see the penalties, you don't see the things that really stalled the drive. And the 2 of 7 third down conversions were 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. You know, long conversions are not going to make a living. And credit to Southeastern Louisiana, they've come out and done what they need to do offensively, and it's a machine ready to keep rolling.
Yeah, well, dominant first half all around for Southeastern. We talked about Cole Kelly and just how good fake field goal. We check out the highlights. Cole Kelly, we know he can do it with his arm. Did it with his legs a little bit too in the first half.
Yeah, and I think these defensive backs are having business decisions trying to tackle the big quarterback in open field. He was surgical with the football, Jack, in that first half. We talked about the multiple receivers that he spread it out, and this was the thing I really thought broke the back and the spirits of the Rattlers, and they never seemed to recover from there.
21-yard fake field goal run from Nick Kovacs, and then for Florida A&M, bottom line, couple of miscues on chances. They didn't have many, couldn't convert. convert. Southeastern did.
Yeah, you miss those opportunities. You get your defense back on the field. Well, that means Cole Kelly can spread it out again. There's Terrell Carter there making a big play. And this offensive line, we talked about how they just give him time to look. And there's a nice little wherewithal shuffle pass inside to Jones for the touchdown there.
So we're ready for the start of the second half here in Hammond. Jose Romo Martinez to send it away. And that goes out of bounds. So not what you want to do given this Southeastern offense field position. They had deferred to the second half. And with a 24-0 lead, ball will go to the 35 for Cole Kelly and this offense, which in the first half did what they typically do, racking up yardage. We talked about the different receivers that got involved. We really saw every dimension of this offense in the first half.
Yeah, I really think you did. And I was really impressed the way they still were able to run the football. And, you know, they ran a couple of times really tough inside, some tough runs, and really make this defense think about something else.
Teron Jones had a sensational first half. And he's got a gain of 6 there to begin things. Jones had 36 rush yards. He had 3 catches for 34. He's a do-everything back. You know, running backs in this offense, you better do everything because of how much they're going to throw the ball.
Absolutely. And I think this offense, when they get the ball, when they get to 100 yards, maybe to 150, they've been 5-0 this year as a team. And so I think they're well on track. 96 rushing yards at halftime. Now you tack on some more. This offense is well on their way to really do something. Wow.
Kelly under duress. Down he goes.
How is that not a flag?
And a collision between a couple of players on the back end.
I mean, they literally take the head off of Cole Kelly. My goodness.
Kelly.
Savion Williams looked like he got in there.
That should have been a flag. Am I crazy for saying that? I mean,
there was a lot of contact. Williams has been such a key addition for this defense. Transferred in from Tennessee, spent 2 years there. Big third down to start the third quarter. Kelly rolling. Cannot escape this time. That's Savion Williams again. He gains about a yard, but it's 4th down and long, and Southeastern's punting. That's exactly the kind of start that Willie Simmons needed from his group.
Well, we saw a little bit of that late in that second quarter. You know, they were able to get some pressure, and there's Williams there, and you know, it's a prideful group, and this defense did exactly what they needed to do. Now, can the offense play complimentary ball? Jack in behind that, do something with it. A lot of football left to play. This game is definitely not over.
Austin Dunlap's punt bounces to about the 25, where Xavier Smith maybe gets half a yard. A 39-yard punt. There is a flag down back at the 25.
Oh boy, you cannot do this.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't afford penalties in general right now.
Running into the kicker. Ball was tipped by number 34. First down.
So the ball was tipped.
Okay, now we.
Johnny Cheney Jr. got a piece. Now a 24-0 lead for Southeastern. Florida A&M and their offense coming out of the field. Here's a look at their playoff history. We talked about this. They were the first team to win an FCS national championship in 1978, now in its 44th year. And how about some pictures of that championship year? Been 44 years.
Fantastic.
Roy Hubbard, the coach. They had just a sensational season. We talked about them being the most successful HBCU in terms of the playoffs ever. And they really, you know, you look at the personnel they've had over the years and some terrific coaches. It's a terrific university. Been the #1 public HBCU over the course of the past couple of years. Look, this program's got a lot going for it, and you think about how special this is for Willie Simmons and his team to be back in the playoffs, first time since 2001. It wasn't lost on him. He's a guy who grew up in Quincy, Florida, 30 minutes or so from the stadium. His family went to HBCUs. His family were Rattlers. His wife, Shea, is a 2-time graduate as well. So he loves this place, and now in his 4th year, really his 3rd season because they lost 1 year due to COVID, he's doing a great job of building it up, laying the foundation. This is a huge step to getting at large as a SWAC team.
Well, I've always been a big believer when you're a head coach and you've had success as a player also, especially in the Florida area. You mentioned Quincy. He was an all-state quarterback. That's not, goes to Clemson.
Penalty for running into the kicker will be enforced. 5 yards. Repeat 4th down.
There we go. Thanks for clearing this up. But yeah, quarterback. And so now you're going to get these recruits and say, man, I want to play for this guy. This guy's played at the highest level and it just seems to work. He's a Florida A&M man through and through, and he's got this program certainly headed in the right direction.
So they thought initially the ball was tipped, but it wasn't. So you get the running into the kicker call. Now that's not an automatic first down because it was 3rd and long. So I think it was 3rd and 9. Yeah, they move it to a 4th down and short. Southeastern still on their own end will punt. So that's ultimately the distinction here. So Austin Dunlap, who actually punted 4 times, a season high last week against Nichols, has only punted 21 times all year. Xavier Smith is deep, and it's a fake. Nolan Given has a first down. It's the 2nd time they've gone with some trickeration on special teams. A 21-yard touchdown run by Kovacs and a fake field goal, and now a run from Given of 7 to move the chains.
And it's all about timing when you call these plays, and when you see the defense not make the proper adjustments, that up back says, okay, we got him. And then he signals back, and the play is on. And why not snap it to Given, one of your best players on offense, converting the first down. And, you know, the 4th down, again, the penalty should not have happened to even give him a chance there.
Inside give to Ron Jones. Tackle from Antoine Collier.
By number 3, Antoine Collier.
Special teams, I'm telling you, it's the 3rd phase of any team. You better be sound, even with special teams. You just never know in a moment of a game, and it can turn the tide. I still think, again, like we said during the break, that fake field goal for a touchdown just really kind of took the sail out of the Rattlers, not only the defense, but the team. And now here they come again with another fake punt. Now they're operating at midfield.
Kelly design run. And a gain of 4.
Kelly on the keeper, stopped by number 5, Marquise Bell.
Marquise Bell makes the tackle.
4 on the play, 3rd down, 6.
Those are some pretty good numbers on 3rd down.
He's highly efficient. You know, it's just incredible as many times they throw the ball. And, you know, I've always thought, you know, throwing the ball on 1st down sets up their mode and keep you ahead of the chains. But he's just so good no matter what the down and distance is. He knows pre-snap where he's going. That's why the ball doesn't really go in harm's way much.
On 3rd and 6, he finds Austin Mitchell. Hangs on for the first down. And a gain of 13.
And folks at home, this is what you call an NFL throw. This is a step into it, a deep out route with the defensive back in perfect position. This is a great angle here. That defensive back is in great position, but the ball is out. It is on time. The receiver runs a precise route. Nothing the defensive back can do there.
Jones up the gut again. And they're starting to churn out yardage on the ground. They're over 100 for the game as a team. Jones is over 50. We talked about it. He's more of a receiving back than a runner, but he's been good on the ground tonight. Florida A&M might have had 12 on the field. Jones is pulled down by Williams, and we've got a flag. There was some confusion on the Florida A&M sideline there with the personnel.
Yeah, you know, and that's the one thing that they've been really good is communicating, talking.
Substitution fraction. Defense. 12th man did not run the field. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, and you know, substitutions, you got to have them in between plays, and you know, that's what they've done. They've been able to keep things simple and just let these guys play. But when you start thinking, when you start trying to make those substitutions, and when you're trying to get fancy and match up personnel, you know, things like that happen.
7th penalty for FAMU today. Austin Mitchell off the jet sweep is hit out of bounds by Marquise Bell. Gain of about 2. Part of the problem for Florida A&M, yeah, they're not getting stops, or when they do, they're struggling or they're making a mental mistake, LD, but these drives are taking so long. They're just eating up clock.
That's a lot of plays for this defense to be on the field, and when you're chasing the entire game, that will wear on you, especially the secondary, and the pass rush hasn't really got there much. And where's the defensive line now, too?
That ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage by Isaiah Land.
There's a guy that's he's got to make his presence felt. He's a Buck Buchanan Award watch list too. He's got to be one of the best players on the field, and that's what we thought we would see more of here, this evening.
Entered with 19 sacks in the season, one shy of the Florida A&M single season record. Alonzo Johnson has that in 1981, 25 and a half TFLs. He's got more sacks by himself than 48 FCS teams. My favorite stat.
It's crazy.
3rd down and 8 Southeastern. They rush 5. Kelly over the middle for Kovacs, and he's got him for 6 more. A bullet from Cole Kelly. And all Southeastern at home, 30-0 early in the 3rd.
And it's just so frustrating to a defense. I think they defended this well. And it's just the effort. It's just the quarterback putting it where his receiver can make a play. And Kovacs, that's a fantastic catch right over the top of Antoine Collier, who was in great position.
3rd touchdown pass for Cole Kelly. 41 on the season. Extra point, Mateo Rengifo is good. 11 plays, 65 yards. 31-0 Lions, rolling toward the 2nd round. Field goal run, and this one on a beautiful pass from Cole Kelly, his 3rd TD pass.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful atmosphere, especially location here at Hammond Strawberry Stadium. One of the better ones, especially in the Southland Conference. And their Lions are playing awfully well. This is a team that, say what you want, they're built for the playoffs, and right now they're taking care of business.
The top scoring offense in the country, living up to the billing. Can Florida A&M get something going here on the return? Oxendine out across the 40.
Nice tackle by the kicker. Wow.
39-yard return.
Yeah, anytime you get a return like this, these guys are in position and they're just blocking and just chipping guys. You don't have to make a bone-crushing block. You just kind of got to get in the way and create a lane. And they've got speed on that sideline, and Oxendine, he can hit it.
Redshirt sophomore, a transfer from UT Martin. Big win for them today over Missouri State in round 1. Okay, so this Florida A&M offense has totaled 98 yards on 29 plays A team again in the playoffs for the first time since 2001. There's so much history in this program. They've had so much success this year. 8 straight wins, LD. How do they now get going? And really, how do you take this thing one drive at a time down 31-0?
Yeah, that's really the test of any offense. When you fall behind like this, the tendency is to really panic. I still think it's a lot of time left, but you got to get something going. You got to find something, whether that's commitment to the run. And if you're going to pass, keep an extra guy in the backfield to protect your quarterback and allow some of these routes to develop downfield.
Rashawn McKay, in his first year as the Rattlers starter, was just 7 for 18 in the first half. Top of your screen, Jermaine Hawkins. And that's incomplete, looking for Kamari Young. Mark that down as another drop. It was contested, but one you got to have.
That's a good pass. And again, you know, Rashawn McKay, he's still learning this offense. He's still learning how to play quarterback. He didn't have his second start until the beginning of the season against their big rivalry game against Jackson State. So, again, this young man has a lot of upside, but he needs his teammates to bail him out. That's the one thing to help a young quarterback out. These other guys got to step up too.
Off play action, McKay, there's a good throw. Oh, and then a big hit on Shareed. A flag comes out. Zy Alexander got in there.
Yeah, this is where football has taken the turn. You know, back, Jack, when I played, you would get a sticker on your helmet for making a hit quite like that. But nowadays, with the defenseless receivers, these defenseless players, these wide open blindside type of hits is what they're trying to take out of our game. How to protect the player.
Defense. That play is under review.
So that's on the second-year freshman from Lauraville, Zy Alexander. First team all-conference selection. 6 picks during the regular season, tied for 4th in the FCS. We watch this again, coming in on Shareed.
Well, you look at that, again, he's kind of turning his side a little bit. Zy Alexander stepping up, and you kind of see his body kind of do it. So upon further review, this might be a no call here. Might be a pickup.
It makes these so tough because they are so bang-bang.
Yeah. And again, that's the natural tendencies of these officials. Throw the flag, right? You need to protect the player.
There's no foul for targeting.
So they pick up the targeting flag for the second time today. We saw one called in the first half that was picked up. Zy Alexander.
Yeah, this crew doing a great job of slowing things down, taking a look at it, safety first, and making the right calls.
We were asking Raymond Monica about Zy Alexander and his development. They thought he could be good, but he said, yeah, we didn't think he'd be this good. 6 picks, 12 passes defended during the regular season with 6 breakups. Guy who really just pushes guys sideline to sideline. There's usually nowhere to throw when he is covering someone. And don't look now, but another 3rd down and long for Florida A&M, who tonight are just 2 for 7.
Yeah, here's the first time they've emptied the backfield. 5 wide receivers.
McKay, high throw, reeled in by Smith. He's shy of the line to gain by 2 yards.
That's a fantastic catch. It makes it interesting here on 4th down, but you definitely have no choice to make. You got to go.
For the season, just 32%. They hand it off. Oxendine. Did he reach the ball across?
Oh, I think he got a bad spot.
See, I think with the way he stretched that football, I thought he had the line to gain, but they've got him down short.
First down, Cypress and Louisiana.
And a turnover on downs. Florida A&M can't convert on 4th down. 31-0 Southeastern. fakes on special teams tonight to help them out. A fake field goal touchdown run by Nick Kovacs in the first half, a fake punt run for a first down in the third. They've added one more score to their halftime tally, and now they're looking for more.
Well, we need to show some love to special teams coordinator Ross Jenkins. He's the guy that's going over to Coach cell phone and saying, hey, I got one. Let's do it. Let's do it here. And lo and behold, Coach Selfo says, okay, let's roll the dice. And you're right, it has worked to near perfection here this evening.
On third down, Teron Jones. And a hurdle. He's having some kind of night. And you can add an exclamation point to it.
He's a nice, I think he's a complete back. I feel like he gives them that toughness running inside. But, man, I'm telling you, he's as fleet-footed as these wide receivers once he's out in the pass pattern. This is a high-percentage play. Swing it out, and there's the athleticism at the end of the run.
Was their third leading receiver during the regular season. That was his fourth catch for 46. Kelly tipped again. Looked like Savion Williams got a paw on it.
Well, that's impressive in its own right to get a paw on a 6'7" quarterback, and he's throwing, from way up here. His wingspan makes him about a 7-footer, 7'1" whatever, and they're still able to knock the pass down. That's pretty impressive. That's one of the highlights, and there hadn't been many for Florida A&M here this evening.
Midway through the third, Southeastern looking for more. Winner gets the 3-seed James Madison next week. Kelly design run. Lost the football and then got it back. He has been prone to fumbling a bit. 7 fumbles this year have been lost. That one he falls on top of after a gain of 15.
And watch Marquise Bell come from the right side of the screen, and he puts a face mask right on the ball right there. And it's just your night when the ball just bounces your way, and he picks it up right in stride. Watch this. Bang, thank you. You've got it going your way when things like that happen.
Bell's 5th forced fumble this season. And you're right. Hometown Lions getting some bounces tonight. And the top red zone offense in the country inside there again. Teron Jones down to the 14.
Well, to advance in the playoffs, you got to be really good in the red zone. You talked about how good they are, this season, but I think sometimes the defense is going to come up with the look to maybe you're going to have to run. I think they've been running the ball well in the red zone tonight.
Screen pass to Mitchell. Good job by Collier to get there first. And he'll lose a couple of yards.
You got to give the Rattlers credit. They're still playing hard. The clock is starting to go against them a little bit and winding down on their season, but yet, no matter what the score is, you go out there and play as hard as you can, and these guys are doing it.
A lot of pride in this Florida A&M program. Again, 8th FCS postseason appearance, first since 2001, the winningest HBCU in FCS championship history, that 1978 national title, and the first ever postseason. 3rd down and 9 for Southeastern. They're 10 for 15 today. Kelly bobbled the snap. Was trying to pick it up with one hand, just couldn't get a handle on it. And so they go backwards on a couple of plays. And it's 4th down and long.
And here it is again. I think that snap, Cole Kelly's a good enough athlete. It was off the mark, but he's been able to handle stuff like that. And hey, here's a break again for the Rattlers. And I don't think you rest here with special teams. You still got to keep your head on a swivel. You just never know what these Lions are going to do.
This would be a career-long 40-yarder from Mateo Rengifo. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Made from 21, missed from 37. High snap, put down. And that is no good again. He's missed a couple to the right. The Florida A&M defense holds again. The question is, can their offense get going? Getting late in the third and Hammond. Football championship. One more final to report. Southern Illinois held on in Carbondale against South Dakota, so they advance. And they get to go to the Fargo Dome next week in a take on the Bison of North Dakota State. Always a tough place to play. Sean McKay and Florida A&M back to work, going deep on the first play for Smith, who nearly had it. And that's kind of been the story for this FAMU team tonight. Very close on a bunch of big plays, just haven't gotten it done.
Yeah, and this is a pass that he just kind of needs to just get it out there to where he can catch it and maybe run with it. It's finally something, Jack, that they had some space, and the quarterback makes the right read. The pass could have been just a little bit underthrown so he could catch it with some running ability, but he had to try to lay out and couldn't hold on to it.
McKay is 8 for 22. That's a dangerous pass. Knocked away by Jack Henderson. The intended target was Jermaine Hawkins. And all of a sudden, Florida A&M, who are 2 for 8 today on third down, and the average distance, LD, has been about 7.5 yards, have another third and long.
You know, even the better offenses across the country, you're not going to be able to make a living like that against any defense you play. This is all advantage defense, and credit to the Lions on first and second down. They've taken the game plan away from what the Rattlers are doing, and now the Rattlers in an uncomfortable position trying to convert third down and 10 or more.
Southeastern brings a blitz. McKay on the move to his left is hit and dropped around the 25-yard line. A late flag comes in.
Yeah, I don't know if Terrell Jennings was the guy coming in late to get a Lion off his quarterback, but that flag came in, Jack, right about the time Terrell Jennings came in there and made the hit.
Looked like Herman Kristoff was in on the stop.
After play was over, personal foul, 23. Offense, penalty being forced, half distance to the goal. Down counts, fourth down.
Well, you called it. It's on Terrell Jennings, redshirt sophomore running back from Jacksonville. And that is penalty number 8 tonight on the Rattlers.
Yeah, I see him here standing here, and just that right there. You can't knock anybody, off a pile. They're going to call that every single time. It's gone bad to worse.
They were the second most penalized team in the FCS, 122 out of 123 in terms of penalty yardage per game this year. About 83 penalty yards per, and they're right around that number tonight. And now a flag before the punt.
18, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
They're just starting to beat themselves.
Well, now you're losing a little bit of focus, because just when you try harder, it just seems like it makes it worse. And that's that no man's land for a football team. When you cross that crossroads of mistakes, you try harder, things get worse, and then next thing you know, you're having penalty after penalty, mistake after mistake, and it just snowballs. It's a tough, lonely feeling, I'm telling you.
Larvin fair catch at the 44 of FAMU after a 37-yard punt. Southeastern looking for more. Here's Smith at Florida A&M. C.J. Turner not playing due to injury, but for Southeastern, who have seen 9 different receivers catch a pass tonight, it has not been Austin Mitchell involved. It's been other suspects. Guys like Nolan Gibbon, their tight end, the transfer from San Diego State. Nick Kovacs, a touchdown catch. Teron Jones out of the backfield. The way that they spread the ball around has been awfully impressive. Cole Kelly to throw on first down. Got hit, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, that's nice pressure in the middle of that defense there. You know, the Rattlers trying to mix up their looks. They're doing some stunning. They're doing some twisting up front. And you can see the contain there by Isaiah Land. And here comes big number 92, Gentle Hunt, to make himself known in front of Cole Kelly.
31-0 Southeastern out of the Southland Conference, playing Florida A&M out of the SWAC. FAMU first playoff appearance since 2001. Kelly on second down, going deep for Mitchell, and overshot him. He's the home run threat. He's been that way for his 6 years on campus. Guy's got 4.3 speed.
Yeah, he's a blazer, so it takes a lot of arm strength to overthrow this young man here. And that's what this offense does. And just when you think they're saying, oh, well, they're up 31-0, time running out here in the third quarter, they're going to hand it off. No, they're going to keep the pedal to the metal. And if you play them any kind of way, and if they like a matchup, you saw it there on the last play, they're going to go over the top of the defense, and they're not going to have any remorse about it at all.
Pressure coming on Kelly. Savion Williams drops him down. His second sack of the night. And this FAMU defense has been good in this third quarter. They're going to force a punt.
Yeah, Jack, they just overrun the offensive line. And the first guy, again, Gentle Hunt, what a second half he's having. He's the first guy to come in. And once he breaks that first wall of protection, well, that allowed Savion Williams, Isaiah Land, Stanley Minter to come in there. Those guys clean up. And that's what they do. 7th best team in the country in terms of getting sacks. And the defense is getting off the field.
Austin Dunlap will punt this time. Kind of a sidewinder that will land out of bounds at the 21. So only a 24-yard punt. Won't really do them any harm. And with 2:25 to go in the third, FAMU will go back to work offensively. How about some famous alumni for Florida A&M? We had a lot of fun with this. Bullet Bob Hayes, 1964 Olympic gold medalist, and then, boy, what he did in the NFL was pretty remarkable. There's some good ones on here. Althea Gibson, first African-American woman to win a Grand Slam title. You know Andre Dawson, Nate Newton.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate Newton, Bob Hayes, Dallas Cowboys. Cam Oliver right there.
Tell you another good one not listed, Ken Riley. He was a coach at FAMU. He was an athletic director, and of course, Cincinnati Bengals Ring of Honor in his 15-year career. 65 career picks, 4th most in NFL history. Florida A&M to work. Final 2:25 of the third. McKay has Smith. And a first down for the Rattlers, gain of 15.
Yeah, that's a nice play. That's one of the first times they've been able to hook up in the middle of this defense. And credit to the Lions to mix up coverages, but this time they play a soft zone. It's an easy read, easy throw there for McKay.
McKay bounces out of the pocket, looking for Shareed. A lot of contact, incomplete, but a flag. Looked like Sterling Fisher had some jersey.
Did Shareed have that pass? I think it was in his hands, and he still dropped it, even with all that contact downfield.
Guy who spent 3 years at Texas State.
Pass interference. Number 3, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And they said number 3. I think that's 13.
Number 1,
so Sterling
13.
Fisher, but was talking about Shareed, and you know, Texas State LD had 623 yards, 3 touchdowns. This has been a breakout season for him. 536 coming in, 9 scores. Had 5 straight games with a touchdown before last week. He's really been good, but he's struggled tonight.
Yeah, he struggled, and this defense has really kept containment and not allowing these receivers to, once they catch it, they go down quickly, but not being able to get deep in behind the safeties in this coverage.
Pocket collapsing, and down goes McKay. Garrett Crawford, along with John Graves.
And the defensive line play for both sides to step their game up. And look at the penetration. You got to keep contained. And he just keeps on his track, and he stays inside. That's a really a 100% motor, keep your motor running type sack, and that's what this defensive line has to continue to do no matter what the score is.
We were talking to Raymond Monica. They've built a lot of depth. Has really been a key for this group. So many guys have contributed. 5-yard loss, 2nd and 15. McKay sideline, and looked like Bonnet out of the backfield, never got turned around. Just have not quite been in sync tonight.
Yeah, and McKay's got to come off of that, and I know the play is designed to get the wheel route, you know, for the backfield, out of the backfield upfield. You got to come off of that. Somebody else has to be open because there's nowhere to put that ball, and maybe you can hope for a pass interference, but you need some chunk plays. You need some things that maybe take advantage of what this defense is giving. And I think some things in these zones are soft underneath, as we saw the completion a couple of plays ago to Xavier Smith.
McKay just 2 for his last 10. Play clock inside 2. They just get it off. McKay steps up and he runs. Still fighting for yardage. Some good effort to get to about the 45. And this will be go for it territory for Willie Simmons.
Yeah, and he gets some of the yardage back. And as a quarterback, you get hit a couple of times. You hear the footsteps. You get out of the pocket trying to make something out of nothing. A lot of green shirts around the ball. That's what they've done really, really well. This is a team that, again, their defense is kind of secondary to their offense. But tonight, well, they have played lights out. They have taken everything away from this Rattlers offense.
FAMU needs this 4th down to have any shot. 4th and 6. McKay with pressure. Shareed tackled short again. All night long. Blaine Delahousse makes the stop. It's a 2nd turnover on downs tonight for Florida A&M. And this Southeastern defense, after they were challenged all week, coming off a loss to their rivals from Nichols, have been sensational.
Well, they've been sensational. One, making the quarterback get rid of the ball, and this right here, making the tackle as soon as the receiver catches it, so there's no doubt, there's no chance for him to break a tackle and get the extra yards.
Delahousse filling in for All-American corner for Orlando Jordan the last couple weeks. Has really been good. That was his 4th stop. Cole Kelly in Southeastern with 16 seconds to work with in the 3rd. Terrell Carter out to midfield on a gain of 9. And that'll take us to the end of the 3rd quarter here in Hammond. It was 24-0 at the half. Southeastern adds a touchdown in the 3rd, and they're 15 minutes away from heading to Harrisonburg to take on G. second round for the second time in 3 seasons. They run it up the gut with Teron Jones. Looks like he's got enough for a first down. Jack Benjamin, LaDarren McClain with you, and all Southeastern in this game. They led 24-0 at halftime. They spread it around on offense. 432 to 131 total offense. It's just been domination.
Yeah, it almost didn't seem fair. It's like, you know, you look at the Rattlers, they just never really had a chance. They were fighting an uphill battle, you know, ever since that fake field goal. And this offense for the Lions has just never looked back and never really let up.
Austin Mitchell knocked out of bounds by B.J. Bowler. He's near another first down.
And that's what they do. They get you spread out. It's a nice little rub route there. Could have been a legal block on a pass play by Terrell Carter, but nonetheless, it's a play that gets the defense stretched. You've outflanked them. You've got the speed to get the edge and get another first down.
By the way, Cole Kelly, 305 passing yards now. His 17th career 300-yard passing game, most in Southeastern history, passing Martin Hankins. Little screen pass again. Teron Jones, room to run down the sideline and in for 6 more. His second receiving touchdown tonight. That one from 39, and it might ice it away early in the 4th here in Hammond.
Now, they haven't run the screenplay much, but when they run the screenplay, it's been effective. Watch Marquise Bell. He misses the tackle, and once he did that, there's a convoy out in front of him, Jack. And you're talking about an unsung hero in this game. Jones has been, I think, really one of the catalysts in this offense. He's consistent. He's been able to run tough, and we know how good he can catch the ball out of the backfield.
He's got 85 receiving yards and 2 scores. He's rushed it 11 times for 55. 140 total yards for the 4th-year junior from Mandeville. What a night it's been for the Lions offensively. 38 points on the board. Fourth-year junior running back Teron Jones, 140 total yards, just scored for the 2nd time through the air, a 39-yard touchdown catch. Frank Selva was telling us he doesn't do anything great, does everything well. He's been pretty great tonight.
He has, and usually when a coach says that about a player, then you kind of worry, what does he do good? Anyway, no, he's legit. He's a fantastic runner, and now you can see he's excellent out of the backfield catching.
Oxendine tripped up shy of the 20 for FAMU. So 38-0 the lead for Southeastern. try to get on the board. The 13:42 to go in this game. It's just been a struggle to find consistency for Willie Simmons. You know, defensively, they've had obviously some nice flashes. Offensively, it's been few and far between. The inconsistency for Rashawn McKay has been the story. 10 for 26. He's made some throws. He's had some drops. And ultimately, his receivers haven't done enough, and he just hasn't done enough tonight against this defense.
Yeah, and they've been one-dimensional, and that was the one thing when you talk to the defensive coordinators at Southeastern that they wanted to do. And they've really taken this aspect of the offense away. They have not been able to get Bonnet going at all, and that's been very, very difficult in their offense.
Bonnet is an incredible guy. You look at what he's done in his career. We talked about approaching 1,000 yards this season. He's already got 2 degrees, interdisciplinary studies and construction engineering. He's finishing a 3rd degree in health, leisure, fitness. I think back to my college days and how hard it was to do one major.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's been there for 6 years, but it's impressive.
Man, just the discipline to continue to do it. I couldn't wait to graduate when I was in college. That's off to Bonnet there.
Another miss on a deep pass from McKay looking for Smith. Yeah, we were talking with Willie Simmons. He was raving about this young man. You mentioned earlier, partner, about him being the heart and soul of this team, but you know, we were talking with their co-offensive coordinator and line coach Ryan Stanchek. He goes and works out with the lineman. He pushes the sled. He's in the film room working on pass pro. That's the kind of player you need in this program.
Yeah, and he's the true team guy. You know, he's just the one guy that, you know, he may get all the running attention and, you know, offensive side, but he's willing to do the dirty things like pass protection, maybe block if he needs to, if you've got somebody else in the backfield as well. It's just an unselfishness. And I tell you, that's contagious on a football team, and that's how the good ones certainly continue to play well late in the year.
Can't find his footing that time. He slips for a very short gain, if not a loss. And FAMU will have to punt it away. Last thing they wanted to do here, down 38 inside their own 25. Just a tough night for Bonnet in this offense.
Yeah, Coach Simmons wanted to, you know, run the ball, play field position, and you know, it's always tough when you get down by, you know, 2 scores, 3 scores. You know, a little bit of panic seemed to set in, and they didn't stick to the game plan. And when you do that, you're trying to figure out the identity of what you want to be on offense. Their defense is getting taken to the courts here, as the Lions have done everything they want.
South. Now look at the top of the NCAA FCS Football Championship bracket. OT win for UIW. First time hosting for the Cardinals. They advance, knocking off SFA. They'll play the defending national champs in Sam Houston next week. UT Martin knocking off Missouri State. Holy Cross and South Dakota State also winners. And moving on. Southeastern up big here early in the fourth against Florida A&M. Cephas Johnson, the new quarterback, handing off to Jesse Britt.
Jesse Britt, you know, when he's given opportunities in the game, you know, he gives him another dimension too. He's just physical, running inside as well. It's a nice little 1-2 punch, especially behind how well they can throw the ball.
On the option keep, Johnson pulled down by Marquise Bell.
I'm not so sure that wouldn't be a penalty there. Very close to a horse collar tackle. Marquise Bell leaving no down on the play. And yeah, you're right. Cephas Johnson, the third backup quarterback. 6'5", 220. Got a little read option look. It's an automatic pull when that linebacker comes in, and there's Marquise Bell there.
That's his 14th tackle. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Came in with 79 in the season to lead the team. Cephas Johnson right up the gut. It's going to be nice when you got a 6'7", 260 quarterback. He needs a breather, and you don't give up a whole lot at 6'5", 220.
That's what I'm saying. If you're 6'4", 6'3", you're not getting in the room with these guys. I mean, you can. This is like the forwards, you know, for Southeastern's basketball team. And if you look at Cole Kelly, he could probably be a good center as wide as he is at 260. But these guys are athletic. Now Johnson, obviously the better runner of the two. So you're seeing a little bit of that aspect with a little bit of the read options and some of the quarterback called runs.
Johnson to throw. A little bit low that time for Jesse Britt. Hey, you mentioned the Southeastern basketball team. You've actually got one of their players on the field here, Gage Larvin.
Yeah, you got your point guard. You know, he's out there now. He's running around.
So who would be your starting five here if you got?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to look on the defensive side too. You got some bangers on that side, and yeah, I definitely would have Cole Kelly in the middle. Put Johnson probably at a forward. There's Gage.
Freshman of the year in the Southland Conference, third Southeastern player to get that honor. Again, going to join the Southeastern basketball team whenever football wraps up. Lions hoping that's not for a while. Johnson just skips one in. His intended target was Maurice Massey.
Yeah, he's just not stepping into that throw. Yeah, you've been sitting for pretty much 3 quarters, and you get thrown into action, and sometimes the mechanics kind of get away from you because you're like, wow, I'm in the game. This is great. Right there, he just kind of short arms it a little bit. He's got to throw strikes, step into the throw.
Third and 10, 11 for 18 tonight for Southeastern. FAMU rushes 5. Johnson on the move again. Bell knocks him out of bounds. Wow. It's going to be close.
Oh my goodness.
He hit him into the bleachers.
Oh.
That's tackle number 15, and we got a little commotion on the sideline.
I've seen a bunch of wild plays from number 5 on defense and a losing effort. Clearly the best defensive player on the field. Watch the closing speed here, and he runs through Johnson. That's big time, man. That's why there's pro scouts probably salivating at this hitter. Now, he can play either the free safety, he can play strong safety. He plays predominantly strong safety in this defense because he's always around the line of scrimmage. But man, he can flat out fly and cover some space.
Looking to be the first FAMU Rattler drafted since Brandon Hepburn by the Lions in 2013. Could be the 4th since 1998. His stock, it was already pretty high. It just keeps going up and up at the plays this guy makes. Play clock is running down here on Southeastern, and got to burn a timeout. with 9:39 to go.
Timeout. Southeastern Louisiana.
What do you like most about Bell and his prospects at the next level?
30-second timeout.
I just think Bell is just one of these guys that he's a hitter. He's a thumper. And when I say thumper, he don't care how big you are. He's going to come up and pop you. But I really am impressed with his cover skills because he's like a cornerback back there at safety. But yes, he has the physicality of a linebacker that can come up and make tackles. He's the complete package. Got the tools. Be interested to see where he goes in the draft for sure.
His journey in college football, it really tells you what you can make with the hard work, the dedication. A guy who was a 4-star prospect coming out of Bridgeton, New Jersey, went to Maryland. He didn't last long there and ultimately had to withdraw from the university, had some issues, ended up at Coffeyville Community College in Kansas, played a year there, went to FAMU. And, the number one thing Willie Simmons tells us is how he has his head on right all the time. Johnson fakes a run here on 4th down and throws low, looking for Drabowski, and it's a turnover on downs for Southeastern.
Wow, he was wide open too.
Missed a couple throws on that drive.
Yeah, that was one. He could have easily got him a touchdown on that one.
The ball will go over on downs to the Rattlers.
So 9:32 to go in the 4th. Florida A&M will get the ball back. We'll look at some notable FCS players in the NFL. Some names you'll certainly recognize on there. All right, here's your trivia question, LD.
Okay.
Which of these guys were Walter Payton Award winners at the FCS level?
Oh, that's a good one. Cooper Kupp.
Yep. Eastern Washington.
Let's see, Trey Lance. And let's go with Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz was not. Oh, this was a near interception. Right through the hands that time of Dante Daniels.
I know I got two guesses. I know it was Trey Lance. I know he was.
So the answer was Jimmy Garoppolo, Eastern Illinois.
I keep forgetting about Jimmy.
And there's one other guy in the NFL right now not pictured who was also a Payton Award winner, Taylor Heineke of the Washington football team.
Okay.
So there's 4 current FCS players who were Payton Award winners in the NFL right now. There's a lot of talent at this level. We're talking about Bell and his draft prospects. You don't have to only go to the FBS, the Power 5 level. No. There's a lot of talent here.
Yeah, you're starting to see the NFL notice quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are groomed because more quarterbacks at the FCS level stay 4 years. So they're developing, and they're ready to pop into an NFL offense as soon as they come off the collegiate field.
McKay sideline, incomplete, looking for Shareed. Some coverage from Justin Douglas. Yeah, you mentioned the quarterbacks, obviously North Dakota State, what they've done with Lance and Wentz and Easton Stick over there in LA. But yeah, I think there were 5 drafted last year. There were a couple in the top rounds. Spencer Brown of Northern Iowa was a 3rd-round pick.
You know, if I had a do-over, I would definitely look harder at some of the FCS schools because not only do you get to play in the playoffs, right? When you're in FBS, you're one and done. You play at the end of the year, it's a bowl game, yeah, you get some nice gifts, but this is planned for something. This is meaning something, and that's the one thing I wish I could go back and have a do-over.
McKay for Smith has a gain of about 7, going to bring up 4th down and short. It's interesting that you say that. And look, this guy next to me had a pretty good career over at North Texas, over in Denton.
Yeah. Let's look at McKay here, stepping up, feel the pressure. You know, he does a really good job of getting rid of the ball, and you know, you're down 38-0. I don't know if you cut out of bounds. You got to cut back and see if you can bust one back against the grain. Got to do everything you can.
We're choosing a punt here on 4th down and 3 at their own 45. It's just been a tough go of it for this offense tonight. Gage Larvadane waiting for a Jose Romo Martinez punt. Another boomer and fielded inside the 10. 3rd one. He's gotten inside the 10 tonight. 45 yards. The question's going to become here for Southeastern, and we'll watch the final 8:28, see some guys get some time. How far can they go in the playoffs is going to become the question. Obviously, it starts with a very good, very talented, very deep James Madison team that offensively is going to bring them a little more than they're seeing tonight.
Well, it's going to be a day where they're going to run into that defense that's going to take away somewhat of their passing game. And I say that. They may not be able to throw for 400 yards. They may have to throw for 250, maybe just under 300 yards for the entire game. They're going to have to run the ball. And I think they've shown you today against a defense that was really tops in the country, 9th in the country in the FCS in run defense, and they've done an admirable job today of carving up that defense running the ball. So I think if they can do that, anything can happen, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, 502 total yards here for Southeastern. A defense that came in averaging 257, fourth fewest in the FCS. We talked about the passing yards, the rushing yards. Johnson off the option. Another Marquise Bell tackle. That's number 16.
Can he get 20? I think so.
Starting to get close. He's got a career high. His previous high was 15 at South Florida on the 18th of September. You know, something about when there's eyeballs on these games. That was a nationally televised game over there in Tampa, and he's doing it again tonight.
He just has a knack to find the ball carrier, and he just has a knack just to be at the right place at the right time. And telling you what, if you're a defensive coordinator, you just turn that guy loose. You give him some of his, keys to read, and just let him be an athlete.
Johnson steps up and thrown down. Gentle Hunt gets home for the second time tonight.
Well, there's your future of this defensive line, the freshman Gentle Hunt. I think if you can see the second end, he just blows right by the offensive lineman there. Let's see what number that was, but that's just a speed rush by a big interior defensive tackle. That's hard to teach. It's a talent thing, and the future's certainly bright on that defensive line for the Rattlers.
He had a 46-yard scoop and score in the third of the Florida Classic last week against Bethune-Cookman. Dunlap's punt into the hands of Xavier Smith. Top punt return man in the country, 19.9 per. Breaks free, past midfield. The kicker to beat gets a block, and out of bounds the 25 but a flag.
Well, I don't want to sound like old man here, but back in my day, that was a clean block. But in today's game, it's a flag, and it's going to be called back. That's that blindside block.
Blindside block. Number 1, return team, filling in force, 15 yards, spot of the foul.
It's on Lovey Jenkins.
On the field.
6:12 to go here in Hammond. Southeastern rolling toward the second round.
This Black Friday, Verizon is doing it better, because right now you can get iPhone 13 Pro on us. Just bring in your older damaged phone and we'll give you the phone everybody wants and get up to $800 when you switch. Because everyone deserves better.
seeded, and defending national champion Sam Houston will go to work against UIW, who knocked off SFA in the game of the day in OT. They've won 21 straight, has Sam Houston. Winner here gets the 3 seed, the James Madison Dukes in Harrisonburg next Saturday. The 2017 national champs will begin their quest for a second national title. Of course, lurking in that bracket as always, the North Dakota State Bison. There's a look at the Southeastern defense.
It's almost impossible.
556 to 141.
That's insane to look at that.
McKay looking deep for Shareed, and finally they connect on a big play. They had been so close, and this time he does find him.
You know, I just thought maybe if they could take some chances because they've got man coverage throughout the entire game. Now, granted, the pass protection is the best it's been in the entire night, so he has time to kind of come off some of his initial reads, and Shareed makes a great grab. Knocking on the door for the first time, getting inside the red zone here in a minute.
40-yard catch for Jamarie Shareed, longest offensive play of the day for the Rattlers. McKay to throw again, has an open man, it's Smith. Touchdown FAMU. And the Rattlers are on the board here in the 4th quarter in Hammond in their first FCS championship game since 2001.
That was a nice throw. Now Shareed's doing a double move. He's going to the post. Now at that time when the ball's gone, he broke to the corner. That's a lot of timing. That's a lot of practice during the week. Quarterback and receiver on the same page. And finally, Jack, they got something that they can feel good about in this game. I know it's not going to turn out the way they want it, but at least they got off the goose egg and they did something to get in the end zone.
And if you're wondering where it was all day, well, part of this is the personnel's a little different here for Southeastern, but I credit the fight and the Rattlers. They do get on the board. There will be no shutout here today. And with 5:30 to go, Xavier Smith, their All-American wide receiver. We talked about him, number 11 on the active receiving list. That was career touchdown number 18. A guy who was one of 3 to have 1,000-yard, I should say one of 6 to have a 1,000-yard receiving season back in 2019. Gotta feel good for McKay too to finally hit one.
Yeah, you know, he's been banged around. You know, he's had some drops. That always kind of kills the psyche of a quarterback. And again, he just didn't have many clean looks in the pocket, but he stood tall. He's still finishing this thing out. That's what you want to do as a quarterback. It's almost like a pitcher. You don't want to ever come out of the game and get relieved. You want to stay in this thing, see it all the way through, and you can feel good about that throwing a TD pass there.
Look at the face there of Xavier Smith. Hard to see him behind the body of Marquise Bell, but you can see the stoic face. And look, there's a finality to this.
Yeah.
When you talk about FCS postseason football, you score a touchdown, you still look up at the scoreboard. I mean, it can be demoralizing, but boy, what a career this guy's had. 5th-year senior from Haines City, Florida. He was a walk-on. You know, so many of these guys, I think one of the biggest testaments that Willie Simmons and this program can have, just counting it up, you look at their starting lineup, 4 or 5 guys who were key contributors offensively and playmakers were walk-ons. I mean, that's player development at its finest.
Yep.
Gage Larvadane takes it across the 30-yard line. It's a testament to Willie Simmons. It's a testament to this coaching staff. It's a testament to the young men who come into this program and go to this university, because look, they didn't all have to stick around after what was going on with COVID. They didn't even play a season in 2020. They were in the MEAC final year before switching to the SWAC, decided to forgo playing that spring season. And look, Willie Simmons told us he had to re-recruit some of his guys, but a lot of them stayed because that's the kind of special program and university this is.
And you can feel that energy. You can feel the outlook, the positive outlook when you talk to Coach Simmons, when you talk to his coordinators. You know, as a former player, you appreciate all those things that they talk, and it makes you feel like you want to go play for him. And so I understand why he's getting these people coming in. You got transfers coming from some FBS schools. You've got these guys believing in the program. And sometimes it's going to be tough to climb that mountain. You're going to get beat. You're going to lose tough games. You may not advance far in the playoffs, but that's part of the building process, and I think they're on the right path.
Well, there's a look at the transfers on defense. We talked about guys who've walked on and been with the program. Bunch of guys here have contributed. We talked about Savion Williams, couple sacks tonight. Have called Collier's name a bunch. There's a penalty and a false start.
anytime you get a new quarterback, that cadence, the timing of the cadence.
63. Offense. 5-yard penalty, down 2.
And we talked about some of the transfers there, LD. You're a guy, you've got family, you've got friends who've gone to HBCUs. What's so special about it, especially as a football player to play at HBCU?
You know, it's a prideful institution, all the universities, HBCUs, and the pageantry of it, right? And it's a special kind of knock, if you will, or excuse me, really a credit to them to play at that level, because a lot of greats in the NFL have come from HBCU, institutions. So it's a great feeling, and be one of the rare teams to win the national championship. I think that's something to say there, and the future's certainly bright for this university for sure.
Tell you what we're missing tonight that we haven't mentioned. The Marching 100, that renowned band.
Oh, man.
We missed them tonight. Weren't able to travel. This is a 3rd and 12.
Yeah, I was bummed out about that one.
Channel Hunt makes another stop. Yeah, we heard the news. We figured it'd be blasting from the bleachers across from us tonight, but so we roll towards 4 to go, and 4th down upcoming. Southeastern will punt it away one more time. I was expecting to have to adjust my headset volume all night with the band.
I know, right? I miss it.
Well, there's the numbers on Cole Kelly. 31 of 45 tonight. Just another day at the office for the reigning Walter Payton Award winner. Good punt here from Dunlap. He's 4th on the active list in terms of average punting at Southeastern, and a 58-yarder. Well, that's one of his best of the season right there. Again, the numbers of Cole Kelly. 4 touchdowns. He's thrown 2 or more touchdowns each of the last 19 games now. What impressed you most about what you saw from him tonight?
Well, you know what? You can watch a player on film, and you're like, wow, he's got a nice arm. But to see it in person, the way the ball kind of snaps out of his hands, it's a quick release, and the velocity in which he throws, you can't really get a feel for that unless you see it with your own eyes in person. That's the thing that really impressed me. The decision-making, he's gotten better and better. The coaches rave about it. That's why he's one of the top quarterbacks in the nation for sure.
Rashawn McKay, after leading an impressive touchdown drive, goes back to work. Some pressure immediately. That was a big hit delivered.
Oh, man. That
Dante Daniels again.
You want to play quarterback. You can get all the glory, but then there's an ugly side to it here, and this is part of it. You stand in there, you're losing 38-7. You're saying, guys, let up. You got this thing in control, but no, you got to stand there and take a beating. It's all about playing that position.
And these guys still learning to play the position. Started football his junior year of high school. Inside give, Bishop Bonnet has not had a lot of room to run tonight. That was one of his better ones. That is close to a 1st down.
Yeah, you can kind of see the ability there. Bonnet, we didn't really get to see much of the game, and I still feel like they got away from the run game just a little bit too quick. And when you try to play, keep up with the Lions, it's fool's gold, because now you're out of your game, and this is exactly what Southeastern wants you to do.
McKay going deep for Manigo, took it right over the top of Tyrone Leggett.
What a catch.
Wow. Pretty incredible hand-eye coordination to haul that one in.
This might be a you got mossed here. Look at that, taking it off the top of his hat. It's a big-time play there.
Redshirt junior from Decatur, Georgia.
Tyrone Leggett, he's in perfect position, just didn't see the ball.
41-yard gain, looking for Manigo again. Manigo's a big play guy for this offense. And a 42-yard touchdown against Arkansas Pine Bluff a couple weeks back.
Jack, they've got some playmakers. They're all young, underclassmen. Manigo's a sophomore. And then you look at Terrell Jennings, he's a sophomore too. The quarterback is a junior.
Jermaine Hawkins is a good player. We've seen him.
You've got some guys coming back. Shareed, he's coming back. So these guys are only going to learn from this experience. And they're going to be a tough out, come next fall, especially in the SWAC.
McKay to throw again. Lofted it right over the top of the DB. Hauled in by Shareed.
Hello.
Got it over the head of Justin Douglas. And a pickup of 18.
No doubt about the quarterback's arm strength here. This ball's in the air a long time. But it's got some velocity on it. Catch there by Shareed.
This is the guy we've seen on tape over the course of the last couple weeks. The progress that McKay has made. Throwing again on first down. Back shoulder for Bonnet. Looked like he was out of bounds and a flag.
I wonder if they're going to get an offensive lineman downfield. This line's been through that flag awfully late.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 0, the offense was covered up. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
The penalty pulls the ball back to the 24-yard line.
It's still got to feel good, though. They've been able to get something, get some life here, and move the ball. That penalty on Jeremiah Pruitt.
Yeah, I mean, they're up to 273 in total yardage. They've had more yardage the last couple drives than, say, the previous 10 or 11 combined. After their 11th penalty of the night, McKay to throw again. And that is caught. What a grab.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Nick Dixon, redshirt junior from Jacksonville with his 6th catch of the year. He's a redshirt junior. They got some players on this receiving core.
Yeah, let's see. He gets a little toe drag swag here. Let's see. Catch, drag a little bit. Okay, I like it. That's a heck of an effort. And it's incredible how accurate McKay is. I mean, even under duress, he's getting pressure. He's not even able to step into these throws. He's just throwing off his back foot. And that just shows you the arm talent that he has.
McKay complete again. Manigo spins down to about the 1.
You don't think this touchdown matters to those guys on the other sideline? They're going to look again. They're still playing hard. This crowd hasn't left on that sideline over there. They want this.
Inside 90 seconds to go. 2nd down and goal. Florida A&M first FCS championship appearance since 2001. Go with a Wildcat formation here. And a wild snap off the hands of McLeod. And that's tough there to take that. And they're moving it so well through the air, and they get a little creative, and it backfires.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's one of the rare bad snaps today. Jalen Spady. And quickly, you got Rashawn McKay coming back into the game.
And now 3rd and goal. FAMU does have all 3 timeouts. See if they can get one more in the end zone here in Hammond. On 3rd and goal, McKay. And behind Manigo. And a push after the fact.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we can't do that, guys. Yeah, looks like Cullen Scott was unhappy about something. Big number 98, for the defense for the Lions. And when you do that, you get a private conversation with Coach Selfo on the sideline.
Personal foul. Number 98 defense striking. Penalty enforced. Half distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Only the 4th penalty on Southeastern. That's one that, look, Frank Selfo doesn't need a whole lot to motivate his team. He's got one more thing in the ammunition chamber now going into James Madison.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it's about how you play and how you finish a game out. And you would never know. Some coaches would be up 50-0, but when you talk to them and their players do some uncharacteristic things, you would have felt like they lost the game. And that's the mark of those great coaches. They coach to the very end. They see all these little loose ends that they want to make great.
McKay, end zone incomplete. And a flag looking for Dixon. So he put that ball where it had to be to draw a flag.
Number 23, defense in the end zone. Ball will be placed to the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Okay.
Another chance for FAMU.
Here's another chance.
21 seconds to go. It's a formality at this point, just a question of the final score, but this Rattler team playing hard to the final whistle. As their head coach told us they would. A 9-win season, 7-1 in the SWAC. They only lost to Jackson State week 1. First and goal from the 2. McKay fade is tipped away. Some good coverage there from Delahousse against Dixon. He's played a nice game.
What a night he's had. He has been kind of a nuisance for these receivers, and watch him play the ball here. When you see those receivers' eyes get a little bit bigger, you know the ball is coming, and then you just get a hand in there and knock it away.
Dixon is 6'2", Delahousse 5'10". Some good footwork and some hops. 16 seconds to go. This is about as tense a game you'll see when it's 38-7 with 16 seconds left. Heck of a drive here for FAMU regardless. On second and goal, another fade. Again looking for Dixon. Goes up. Oh, that was Manigo. Made the catch for the touchdown. David Manigo with his first touchdown of the season. That was a beauty.
Yeah, he's come in and gave him a little spark, right? He's kind of making the most of his minutes in the last waning moments of the game, and fantastic. He already had a fantastic catch on this drive, and it's a great job to cap it off and get the touchdown.
10-play, 88-yard drive. 3:31 off the clock. Jose Romo Martinez, extra point is through. And how about a 14-point fourth quarter for Florida A&M? Credit the fight of this team.
Yeah, and if the defense kind of played a little bit better too in this second half, and the offense woke up a little bit, and that's a perfectly placed pass there by McKay, and Manigo showing you some talent.
Redshirt junior from Decatur, Georgia. Guy who's worked relentlessly with their receiver coach, Jelani Barasa, working to get off press coverage. You can see the faces on these guys. Scores a touchdown, but knows ultimately his team's going to come up a little bit short. Heck of an effort for, again, a group that got an invite to the postseason. It's unique. We were talking about this earlier, but not many HBCUs have gotten the invite because there is no auto bid when you're playing in the SWAC championship or a MEAC championship game. This is the first invite since 2016 when North Carolina A&T made it, and of course the first SWAC team since 1997 because of that Celebration Bowl. The champions play there, so in each division that is, in the SWAC and the MEAC, so it opens up the possibility for an at-large, but you got to have a resume good enough to get into the FCS playoffs.
Yeah, you know, when we talked to Coach Simmons, when they lost that first game of the year against Jackson State, they said, hey, look, we got to play a playoff season throughout the rest of the season, so, hey, we've been in the playoffs for 7-8 weeks now in a row. Just to get a resume like you're talking about to get selected to get into the playoffs, and it's worked. They've made it. It's not the result, obviously, that they wanted here tonight.
Willie Simmons finishing up year 4, really his 3rd season because they didn't play in 2020. Just a magnificent job. But this night is about Southeastern and the Lions. Going to get their 3rd postseason win, and the FCS championship, that is, to even their record at 3-3 all time. Cephas Johnson takes that final knee. Final seconds will wind down, and behind a 24-0 start, a 31-0 start, and Southeastern racks up 503 yards of total offense. They get 4 touchdown passes from Cole Kelly, and they move on to the second round. They'll take on James Madison in Harrisonburg next weekend. Heck of a performance still from Florida A&M.